All right. Oh, I'm listening to myself. I can't do that. Got to turn that off. There we go. We are here. We are live. And we're going to talk about some Timpool stuff because apparently Timpool got into some controversy, and I am now just realizing that. Kind of. My friend said something about it like 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Yeah. But he just gave me another text, and I'm now I got some videos to watch. But what I was going to do is watch some good old Destiny. Well, first I really want to do the Timpool. Actually, no, we'll do the smaller ones first, because like the videos that I've got, I usually don't get sent videos that are like super long. So well, but remember to do what's on screen. I got a weird new layout. I see myself here now instead of like over here, which is better. Also, I got a new mic arm and a nice little green, I guess, mic filter or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, do what's on screen, and we'll just get right into this, because like I'm not 100% sure like what Tim has gotten himself into. So let's see. What are we watching?
Right now is the 17-year-old accused of murder walking out of the Collin County Jail this afternoon after posting bond.
Carmelo Anthony, the main suspect in...
Oh, actual justice war. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right, well.
The murder of...
We're going to watch this. Okay, so this will be something that we'll watch first, because it's only 28 minutes. But then I want to do the Timpool culture war. But then next I want to do the... Oh, no, not Spotify. YouTube. Is it this one? Yes. And I want to do the Wick TV one. This dude. Wick TV. I like watching his stuff. He's a pretty interesting guy. Compared to, like, he's like... If Wick TV, if Destiny would adopt Wick TV's like I mean, Destiny and Wick TV have basically the same political leanings and stuff like that. They used to talk until the whole Destiny controversy thing. Oh yeah, and there's also some new stuff with that, I guess. But there's too much to go over. I need to talk about my my Beanie friend before we get into any of this. But let's see, what did Mr. Beanie Boy got himself into?
Austin Metcalf, the 17-year-old kid who was stabbed in the heart at a track meet in Frisco, Texas, is now official.
Oh, it was okay. I remember now. Ooh, I watched the... Okay, so we're gonna pull up another thing. We're setting everything up, guys. Bear with me. Wait. I also have this reload. Oh, there's nothing to read because there's nothing. So if I were to click this. Okay. The thing still works. All right. Cool. All right. No, just normal Timpool. But not culture war. I don't know why. Well, I know why it auto-corrected to that because I just searched that. But no, actually, Timcast. IRL. That's what we're looking for. There we go. And there's a specific live where they talk about it exclusively. How many lives was it ago? Pauses, tariffs, stock market, tariffs, global pandemic. Oh, I think it was with this guy on.
The memes are saying Trump bankrupted all of his businesses. He bankrupted, I think, 1% of his businesses. They don't know what they're talking about. And they don't...
We're not watching the full thing. I just want
to plan and prepare and to move. But the big counterpoint from the left is that Trump did not drop these tariffs lapsing. Because apparently some guy made $30 million in a matter of minutes. Donald Trump, he posted on Truth, it's a good time to buy. And then I didn't listen. So we're going to break, one of which is the DHS is going to be screening new visa applicants for anti-Semitism in social media, which I think is just a little over the top, a little silly. I mean, obviously, we don't want a lot of people in the country that are opposed to our interests, but
I understand why people's getting all crazy about the anti-Semitic stuff, because like it's like there's a whole war going on right now, and a lot of people are really afraid that what happened on October 7th might happen again. So it's a little like, if nothing happened in the world, then I would be like, all right, this is a little weird. Why are we like focusing on the whole anti-Semitic stuff? Like nothing really happened to like kind of justify why people are afraid of this. But we did have something happen in the world that did happen. So like I understand that point. So yeah, but like that's we're not gonna talk about that right now. But I'm slightly in disagreement. Like it's not really that weird. It makes sense. People like, there's something really bad just happened in the world that's relatively recently. I know it's like over a year ago, but like, bro, like it's like saying slavery was like 60,000. Like slavery was so long ago. Like, why are people still talking about like that? Like that's basically the argument you're gonna make. Like, oh, it's over a year. Why are we still talking about that? I'm like, okay, all right. You wouldn't use the same argument in that other situation. But this is not what we're looking for. I'm looking for oh yeah, the helicopter crash. That was wild. When was this? I thought it would be with this guy on, but I guess it wasn't. Oh, this is like the Israel one. This was the Israel one.
Tariff on China taking effect at 12:01 a.m. Ladies and gentlemen, but all these Chinese making the cost of goods imported from China, it's going to be even not make here. They are bomb. Donald Trump warned China to back down overnight. It's a Supremacy Act, but every single individual must get a hearing.
No, bro, when was this? Global tariffs. Bro, it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't 2-3 weeks ago. Wasn't it like just last week?
In the stock market, they're calling it a bloodbath, and I ain't crying about it. I'm not. I mean, it's not like it's a good thing, but if you this year or this, and we'll see what's going on. I'm going to say this. I am no fan of the people on the right who are just like, this is no big deal, and Donald Trump knows what he's doing. Guys, chill. People are going to freak out. People who don't know what's going on are going to freak out, and we're going to say this. We are hoping things improve, like the apocalypse is happening. It's like, guys, this is like a 6-month correction. And we knew a correction was coming. So the question is now, what will Trump do? And we want good leadership. So let's make sure we're being critical where critical needs to be applied. We're not going to just defend literally everything, even when it's bad. But we'll see. So again, you know.
Oh, and they say Tim Pool's a partisan hack. Like he's literally going to criticize what we're going to criticize. Like, wow, good one, Destiny. Good one. Yeah, Tim Pool's such a partisan hack that he's not going to call out his own guy for having these really wacky things going on right now in the stock market. But yeah, This is not the video, though. It's not the video. Oh, wait, actually. No. We're gonna keep this one. I'll just throw it into my Discord. Just so I can keep it. This is not it, though. Where does he talk about the dude? Blaming Trump for the tragic accident. Was it? I know this is not it.
Into the Hudson, 6 people have lost their story.
Yes,
tragedy. They're blaming Trump. About that, of course. We've also got a bunch of other news. The GOP has passed the SAVE Act requiring proof of is that peace.com. Talk about all that, my friends. The reason they're not buying Teslas or selling them off is because they're scared of the terror.
This is not it. So not the plane crash. Oh, hold up. I can just look at my history on the my other my other thing. Yeah. Oh. Okay, why Tim Pool's fans? Okay, so it was okay, so this video is 4 days ago, so it has to be at least 5. Is it this one? All right, we're gonna So I just saw this.
All right, Tim Pool has been on his show and on X arguing, to the surprise of many in his audience, that the Austin Metcalf murder was self-defense. Or at least he's speculating that it may have been self-defense. He's taking the position that Carmelo Anthony may have killed Metcalf in self-defense. He's made this argument a few times. It's been kind of trending on social media. A lot of people very upset. Here's just one short clip from his show where he kind of lays this out.
There was an argument between Carmelo Anthony, who was
Oh, see, look, it is this guy. All right, it is this guy. It is this video. Okay, so I found it. It is this guy. All right, thank you. But I'm gonna watch this for a little bit. So
school, who was there, and there were a bunch of kids from this town or whatever, and they got into an altercation. They told him he wasn't supposed to be there. Apparently, they had words. Carmelo Anthony pulled a knife out from his bag and said, "Touch me and see what happens." Witnesses said either he was touched or grabbed. They were different witness accounts, but that Austin Metcalf did put hands on Carmelo, who then stabbed him once in the chest before running away. According to police, Carmelo Anthony, when he got apprehended or turned himself in, however the story goes, I mean, different accounts, he asked if Austin was going to be okay and said it was self-defense. He said he grabbed me and I said self-defense. The family is arguing it was self-defense. It's strange to me that with this story, the right is adamant that this kid just killed another kid and he should go to prison forever. And I'm like, we don't even know what happened. Like, you've got witness testimony.
Yes, actually, no, I agree with Tim's point here. They're jumping the gun, and you shouldn't jump the gun. Like, the whole point is not to jump the gun. Like, this is true. Like you gotta wait. You gotta wait a couple days. You don't even know what happened. You guys, like, everyone's jumping the gun, and you shouldn't do that because you're gonna look like an idiot afterwards when it turns out that this guy literally did, like, try and attack this guy. And then he literally, like, shoved him once and ran away. Like, he wasn't there sitting there just trying to delete the guy. He hit him once and got him in the right place, probably. I mean, this is just a speculation for now, and this was 4 days ago, so maybe there's more information on this, but I'm not too fiend. Well, maybe we'll, let's see. What does Matt Watch have to say to this, though?
Like a fight happened at a school. Then I've heard the argument, yeah, well, he shouldn't have had a knife. He brought a knife to a school, and it's like, okay, what kind of knife was it? Was it a utility knife? Was it a switchblade? Was it a machete? Like, did he have a steak knife?
Yeah, exactly. We don't know. So, like, why are we gonna jump the gun?
Was he coming back from culinary class where he had fine Japanese blades for cutting cucumbers? I have no idea. You're allowed to carry knives I'm pretty sure in Texas, especially if it's like a utility blade. You're also not allowed to grab people. Like, nobody knows the exact specifics of this story with Carmelo and Metcalf. Some witnesses said that Austin touched Carmelo. Some say he grabbed him. Whatever. The courts will play it out. If weapons are banned, he's going to go to jail. However, in a general self-defense context, this is why I'm saying the story I find so confusing. We have always maintained, when it comes to self-defense, it is not the responsibility of the victim of an attack to determine the extent of that lethal force.
Yeah.
If they are being attacked, their perception of how far that force goes is it.
Yeah.
So let me. So first of all,
I agree 100% wholeheartedly with Tim right there. 100%. Like, this just happened. Well, at the time that Tim was talking about, this just happened. Apparently it didn't just happen like when I'm talking about this because I'm live like a couple days later, but still. But like, what does Matt Walsh have to say to this, I guess? Maybe he has more information or something like this, but I don't know. 12 minutes.
He's a great guy. He's been on the show a bunch of times. First of all, I like Tim. He's a great guy. He's been on the show a bunch of times. I like
Tim too.
No hard feelings at all. I disagree with him on this one strongly, though. I think he's wrong on this one. I don't think there's anything even.
Okay, you could say that you disagree. You could say that he's wrong. Are you going to tell me why to convince me otherwise? Because like just saying that you think he's wrong isn't enough to convince, well, anyone that doesn't hate Tim Pool. Like the only people that will be convinced by just saying, well, I mean, he's probably going to say why.
Even approaching a legitimate self-defense claim here. So let's go over the facts as we understand them. And this is according to the witness testimony and the police report, and also just common sense. You know, I think all those things combined give us a pretty clear picture of what occurred. And yeah, innocent till.
Usually when someone says common sense, it's like a catch-all. Like, don't say that, please. What you think is common sense isn't what people on the other side of the world will probably think is common sense. Common sense is very subjective. Like, I hate when people use, oh, this is just common sense. Like, oh, if it's so common, then why did this person not know it? Like it's an intellectually degenerate way of speaking. Like, you're not really thinking when you say that. You're like, oh, it's just common sense because everyone just knows it, right? Right, guys? That's just true, right? Like, no, obviously it's not.
Proven guilty and all of that, he'll get it. You know, I think all those things combined give us a pretty clear picture of what occurred. And yeah, innocent until proven guilty and all of that, he'll get his day in court as he should. But innocent until proven guilty, that applies to the court system legally. It does not apply to the court of public opinion. We're allowed to arrive.
Ah, okay. It doesn't. It applies to the court system, not to the court of public opinion. All right. I mean, he makes a good point. All right, that's true. You're allowed to have your opinion. You're allowed to disagree, but I'm allowed to change my mind whether you make a good, convincing argument or not. So make the convincing argument. Saying that it's public opinion isn't changing the fact that I still agree with Tim Pool.
At our own conclusions. I mean, we know that O.J. Simpson, according to the courts, was not guilty, but the court of public opinion can look at the evidence the same way the actual jury did, and we can come to the conclusion that the jury got it wrong. And no jury has looked at this one yet, but we can look at the facts as they're currently known and come to some conclusions based on our...
Okay, you said we're going to look at the facts like 3 times now. Are you going to actually say what the facts are to why you have the opposite opinion that Tim Pool? Like, are we going to get to that, or are you just going to keep saying, we got to keep looking at the facts and public opinion might be right on this one, and the courts could get it wrong. Like, are we going to get to that? We're 3 minutes in. This is only 12 minutes.
Our own opinions about it, and that's what we're doing here. So, as far as we know, what happened is that Carmelo Anthony went to the wrong tent at a track meet. He brought a knife with him to this track meet already. Now, if he had a knife on him and he just had it on him and obviously didn't use it to stab anybody.
So you're already assuming that the knife that he has is the type of knife that's supposed to like delete people. You don't even know what type of knife it is. Like, are we going to talk about the type of knife, or are you just going to assume that the knife that he has is just a weapon, just a shanky knife, like a knife he's not supposed to have? Like, that's the thing that, like, are you gonna, do you know what type of knife it is? Because if you do, then that would be, why would you speculate or assume that the knife that the guy has is a bad knife? But maybe he'll say.
Well, we wouldn't even be having this conversation to this track meet already. Now, if he had a knife on him and he just had it on him and obviously didn't use it to stab anybody, well, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But it's strange. Like, why are you bringing a knife to a track meet of all things? What? I mean, why? Why at a track meet? What's the purpose?
You don't. Well, yes. What is the purpose? Maybe we should just speculate. Probably most of the purposes is like bad. So like, let's just assume that all the purposes of bringing a knife to a track meet is probably just bad. We could just assume that, right? It's safe to assume that, right? And I'm like, no, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what type of knife. First, you don't even know what the type of knife. You still haven't explained that yet. Secondly, we're just assuming knife bad. Like, that's just intellectually, like, what is it called? Intellectually bankrupt? Where you're not even thinking. You just hear knife and bad. Knife bad, so must be bad, right, guys? And I'm like, this is... Try not to use the R word. This is dumb. This is dumb. Like, give me an actual argument. Just don't say knife bad and that's why it's bad, guys. Like, that's essentially what he's saying. I'm being very reductive, but that is what he's saying. That is the logic that he's using right now. But maybe he'll give us the facts of, like, what the knife is, and also he'll also give a reason to, like, what the reason was. But I don't think he even has, if he doesn't even know what the knife is, then I don't even think Matt Walsh would even have the reason of why he went there in the first place. We're also assuming that he intentionally brought the knife there and it wasn't just on him while he was just there in the location. We're assuming that the guy intentionally put the knife in his pocket and walked towards this tent. Like, that's what we're assuming, when it literally could have been like the guy had this on him and he was in the area and this is where he ended up. Like, yeah, let's just keep going.
And anyway, so he was in the wrong tent. He brought a knife with him. Already had it with him.
Yeah, you keep saying that. What's the knife? Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna let him play and just talk.
Told to leave. If he gets up and leaves the place where he's not supposed to be, and he's told to leave. If he gets up and leaves right then everyone lives, nobody goes to jail, everything's fine, and none of us are talking about this. But he refuses to leave. He then challenges Metcalf and says, touch me and see what happens. Metcalf, at this point, grabs either Anthony himself or his book bag, different accounts, to try to get him out of the tent. So and I think it's not clear if this even happened, but if Metcalf grabbed Anthony, and no one is saying that it was some kind of brutal, violent assault, if he made any,
you shouldn't be grabbing anyone, period. Like, it doesn't matter where you are. You shouldn't be grabbing people. Like, that's just, bro, like, what are you talking about? Camera's off for a second, but like, yeah, like, you shouldn't be grabbing people. Oh, this is not some brutal thing where you gotta use a knife that we still don't even know what it is yet, but we're just assuming the knife is a bad knife that he shouldn't have. We're just gonna monkey brain it and just assume that. I think it's just stupid. Like, this is just stupid.
Physical contact. He grabbed him to get him out of the tent, right? And at that point, Anthony pulls out the knife and stabs him in the heart, runs away, dumps the murder weapon. And then
dumps the murder weapon because he realized that there's a lot of blood on it. And he's like, oh shit, I think I just did something terrible. Like, bro, like, if the people are like, first off, if they don't want people in the tent, if they want a specific type of people in the tent, then they should be like making sure that no one gets in there in the first place. but then someone ends up getting in there, and then they're like, well, we don't want you here. And then they try to physically remove this guy, and then he defends himself with whatever he had on him. And then, like, this is a good self-defense case. This is a gray water type of thing. This is not a clear cut, oh, this guy came here, intentionally tried to delete these people. And, like, come on, man. Like, there's so many ways this could have went better. And we're all just saying, the guy he shouldn't have brought the knife. I mean, the guys with the tent probably should have had, like, a bodyguard if they didn't want people going into their tent. Or, like, they would have seen him coming and, like, block the passage so he doesn't come in. Like, come on now. Like, this is not... Like, we're here just sitting here being like, oh, the guy with the knife has all the responsibility, when there is a little bit of responsibility for the other people. Like, there's other ways this could have, like, changed besides no knife. Like, all right, well... I mean, it's obvious that Matt is not going to, like, actually talk about, like, any facts on the ground or any new facts on the ground. Because Tim Pool's... I actually really appreciate that Matt showed that full clip with Tim, because that's what I was looking for the entire time. So I have nothing against Matt. I think this guy's pretty cool. I think he's pretty cool, but I think he's not really giving a convincing argument to why I should disagree with Tim Pool.
Admits to the police that he does not get him out of the tent, right? And at that point, Anthony pulls out the knife and stabs him in the heart, runs away, dumps the murder weapon. And then admits to the police that he does not know whether what he did was self-defense. Because he asks the police if what he did would count as self-defense. Right? So,
Which means that this kid is kind of scared and doesn't know what's going on and doesn't know whether, like, him acting out like that. And I think that's a really crazy thing to do. He definitely has anger issues, but, like, someone who's intending on going there to, like, delete someone isn't going to go to the police and be like, oh, I don't know if this is actually, like, we're talking about a kid. Kids don't have these types of, like the kid wouldn't go to the police at all if he was intending on deleting someone. Like, this is wild.
I mean, that fact alone pretty much sinks you. Everything else, I mean, even if he had said nothing, I'd have the same opinion on this, but...
I mean, no. If he would have said nothing, then it probably means that he knew what he did was wrong, and he's not going to go to the police. Him deliberately going to the police and asking these questions means that he was not intending on... There was no intent on trying to delete someone. Like, everything he was trying to do, the safer assumption, everything that this guy was trying to do was trying to, like, how do you say it? Like, he was trying to do a self-defense type of thing. Like, he wasn't there intending on attacking anyone. That's why he asked if this was specifically self-defense. Like, if he knew that what he did wasn't self-defense, he's not going to ask that question. Like, come on now.
Him saying that alone, I mean, you would need the smartest defense attorney in the world, in history, to get around even just that. You have revealed...
Bro, I already just did that. And I'm not an attorney or anyone that does anything. Bro, what are you saying? What are you saying?
Your state of mind to the police, and you've made it clear that you at least don't know whether it was actually self-defense.
Yeah, the kid does not know, which means it's better. Okay, I mean, I already made that point. Let's just keep going.
So, why isn't it self-defense? Well, first of all, he instigated it by being in the wrong place and refusing to leave.
Whoa! Whoa! Oh, okay. So a drunk woman walking into a back alley. Well, she instigated it. There's some drunk guys back there, but, like, hey, she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like, bro, what? What type of argument is that? That's wild.
He further instigated it by saying, touch me and see what happens. This is a guy looking for a pretext. He's provoking an altercation looking for a pretext to commit violence, very clearly.
Or this guy has anger issues and doesn't like being told what to do. Bro, come on now. Like, that's just that's a simple alternate reality that's easy to like understand.
You cannot go to a place where you don't belong.
I'm not saying that him having anger issues justifies that the guy should get like deleted. This guy has anger issues. He should get like some sort of penalty. But like in self-defense, I think he specifically could easily win with that type of self-defense. Because like he's not trying. If he was trying to delete someone, there's lots of evidence saying that. I mean, I already explained like the psychoanalysis of how he could be like not intending on doing that. So I already explained that in the beginning. But yeah, let's just keep going.
Refuse to leave, dare anyone to touch you, and then stab them when they do.
I mean, he's making a good prosecuting case. He's making a really good prosecution case for it, but I just disagree.
You can't do that. That's not self-defense. That is you provoking every step of the way and then resorting to an absurdly disproportionate response when you get the response when you get what you're looking for.
Nah, someone going up and grabbing you and then you shank them once and then run away, that's proportionable. Like, you're not there. Like, you're not even aiming where, like, this guy isn't some super, like knife, like, attacking assassin. Like, this guy just threw it, like, this guy got grabbed, impulsively, like, hit something, like, just threw his knife at the guy, and then ran away. Like, he didn't even stop and, like, look to see what happened. He just ran off. Like, he doesn't care. This guy just touched him, and then he's like, I'm gone. Like, this is some impulsive nonsense. This is not something you can just be like, oh, he's intending on doing this, and this is what he's trying to do. Like, this is not some... It's much more... I think it's much more easily explained that this guy has anger issues and very impulsive and did something that he really should not have done in the moment. And then he was confused, ran to the cops, and then asked all these clarifying questions because he's kind of scared right now. He doesn't know what's going on because he's like, he just deleted someone. Didn't even know that he deleted the guy. And yeah, so this is wild. This is wild.
Anthony, in order to buy the self-defense claim, you would have to, first of all, ignore the fact that Anthony provoked the situation entirely. And then you'd have to believe...
No, he did provoke a little bit. But, like, just because he provoked it a little bit doesn't mean that he can't defend him, say that it was self-defense on the specific part of where he got... Like, we're not talking about him physically being there. Like, him physically being there doesn't automatically mean that people need to go grab him. The people that went to go grab him, they are fully responsible for why they went to go grab him. Like, if they didn't want people in this specific location, they would have had guards up. So, like, they also have, like, some responsibility for what happened as well. So, that's where you could say that there's a clear self-defense case there.
That he was in fear for his life. Right? What matters is was he in fear for his life? But not just that, because we don't know. Like, anyone can claim that they had any kind of emotion going on inside.
Bro, yeah, yes, that's true. And the emotion that's going on inside is the thing that we're talking about. We're not, like, we're talking about what he was feeling in the moment. If he genuinely felt like his life was in danger, then yeah. But I mean, I'm just repeating myself.
That's a subjective. There's no way to know. Did he have a reasonable fear? Did he have a reasonable fear? Was there a real reason for him to fear for his life? I would say yes, because the grabbing. Reasonable fear of some kind of lethal threat. Of course, does anyone believe that there was? Does anyone believe that Anthony truly thought Metcalf was going to kill him for being in the wrong tent at the track meet?
Possibly. Like, he said, touch me and see what happens. Like, obviously he's very angered by what's going on, like, in the moment. And if you touch him, he's going to react in a very bad way. So, like, bro, and they did. So now what is he supposed to assume? Like, come on now.
Okay, grabbing someone.
But also, he's not intending on deleting that person. So, like, yeah.
Come on, buddy. You don't belong here. Okay. That is not a fatal situation. That's not a lethal situation. Unless you make...
Yeah, but you're assuming that that guy was... that the guy with the knife is intending on having a fatal confrontation, which I don't think he was trying to... He didn't come there to delete someone. If he came there to delete someone, had that mentality, then what you're saying makes sense, but he did not. His proportional response for why he used the knife wasn't a fatal type of intent of the response. It was a little like one hit and then you're gone. He didn't just sit there and hit and just multiple times just kept on hitting and hitting and hitting. He literally one hit and ran. Like, I don't want you touching me. I'm gonna defend myself and then I'm gonna run away. That's just simple, like that has to be at least self-defense 101. If he didn't have the knife and he just punched that guy and ran away, like, is anyone gonna be sitting here being like, oh, like, this guy shouldn't have done that? Oh, like, no, like, bro, like, the guys grabbed him and then he punched him and then ran away. Like, I mean, maybe people would, like, if the guy didn't die, then yeah, but like, the guy wasn't going there intending on deleting someone. So
make it one. Nobody believes that Metcalf was any kind of real threat to Anthony. Nobody believes that. Does anyone think that Austin Metcalf at this track meet was going to kill this guy for being in the wrong tent? Of course not. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, there is a left-wing reality where, because apparently the guy that died was white and the guy that had the knife was black. So, like, he could have been one of those, I would arguably say, delusional people that think that white people are still out to get them. So this white guy comes up and grabs him, and then he uses his knife because he's basically deluded himself into thinking that, well, white people are like out to get him or something. Which that does, bro. I've met so many people that actually have that, like, I would say delusion. I'll use delusion. Fight me in the comments if you don't like that framing. But and then they'll use that to justify their actions, and I think it's really gross. People shouldn't do that, but hey, that's still a valid excuse for self-defense, whether you agree with it or not. Like, that's still a valid excuse, because emotionally they feel that, and that's why they had that proportional attack. I'm not saying this is what happened. I'm just saying that that's an alternate interpretation of what could have gone on in this guy's head. Which I would say, I would arguably, like, I disagree, but like, and I think it's a delusion, but you did still feel this way. You still had a flight or fight response, which you can't fake that. Like, he felt that. So like, why would I be the one to be like, oh, I disagree with your feelings, therefore you're gonna get the book? Like, no, you felt this way. So, and you went through that stress. So like, that's just, I'm not, like, this is self-defense. Like, self-defense doesn't, whether you have self-defense or not is not something, like, you can't just say, like, just because you disagree with the emotion doesn't mean that it's not self-defense, right? Or you disagree with the logical process that came to that conclusion. If you disagree with that, therefore it's not self-defense. Like, no, like, you may disagree with the process of how you got there, but the feelings and the intent was true. Whether you, just because you think it's true, the way that they got to that. I mean, I think I'm saying the same thing multiple times, but like, I think you understand what I'm trying to say.
And if Carmelo Anthony really did fear for his life, he could have left.
That's what he did. That's what he did. Hit him once and left. That's what he did. You just didn't like the fact that he hit him once. I am using very minimal language. I am aware of that, but like, he's arguing in the opposite, so I have to like minimize what he's saying, because like he's exaggerating and I'm under exaggerating, just so we can get like a neutral like tone for like this entire conversation, I guess.
When you're in a place where you don't belong and the people who are there don't want you there and they tell you to leave, if you fear for your life, what do? You leave. It's not like you're locked in. There's a tent. There's no doors. There's no door or wall. You just leave. If I'm under a tent where I don't belong and the people there say, you got to go, Well, for me, because I'm just a reasonable human being, like most people, I'd already be gone. But if I feared for my life, that would be all the more reason to leave the tent. Standing up and saying, touch me and see what
Testing
happens.
out chat.
Yeah, cool. It works. Maybe. Hopefully.
That is not a statement of fear. That is the opposite. That is you making a threat. That is you making a threat. That is not you feeling threatened.
I mean, okay. I mean, I understand that, but like, I think I just disagree.
Okay, what happened here very clearly to me is that Carmelo Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf not because Anthony felt threatened, but because Anthony felt disrespected. That's what this is.
Oh my God. What's the difference? What's going on? Ah, whatever.
Is.
This is wild. All right.
We all know that. Again, I mean, I feel like I'm just consistent.
Wait, let me go back a little bit.
Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf not because Anthony felt threatened, but because Anthony felt disrespected. That's what this is. We all know that. Again, I mean...
Yeah, he felt disrespected and he had an emotional... he had an angry issue problem, so... Yeah, that makes sense. I mean... This happens a lot. This happens a lot. Very a lot. And, yeah, I mean, I understand why conservatives are a bit like... I don't like this and they're against him with this. But, like, bro, like, you're jumping the gun just like how the left jumps the gun with... Like, oh, a white police officer deletes a black guy. Like, you're doing the exact same thing, but in the opposite. Like, I just don't care for it.
You know, I feel like I'm just consistently saying things that we all know. The whole scene, showing up in the tent, you don't belong there. Someone tells you to leave. I'm not leaving. It's like, dude, you have no argument here. You don't belong here. You've been told to leave. You're not in the right, okay? You have to leave. It's not your...
Self-defense doesn't mean that you're in the right. Self-defense means that you were just defending yourself in a bad situation. Like, we're not talking about whether he's in the right or not. Obviously, he's in the wrong. But like, that doesn't mean that he doesn't get any self-defense rights. Like, bro, what? Like, no one is allowed to grab other people, regardless of where you are. Unless the guy that grabbed him was literally security and he's in a legit, like, location where he's not supposed to be in. Like, just because the people said that, oh, you're not supposed to be here, doesn't mean that he literally did not have to be there. Like you don't even know the situation. Like, the guy could have been obviously the kid that grabbed him wasn't a security guard. So, like, it was just some random other kid in the tent. Which means this probably wasn't a restricted area. So, like, what is your, like, legal defense for, like, why that is besides your emotions? Like, that's all this was, just emotional stuff. So, like, he did a good job of not convincing me. Let's just say that.
Man. And then said, touch me and see what happens. That, every time, that's a routine that we're all familiar with. Okay, the touch me and see what happens thing. That is you challenging, so that is a challenge. That's you asking for a physical altercation.
Yeah, and one could use the argument, women wearing these really skimpy outfits, that's a challenge. That's you asking for it. Like, bro, this is stupid. This is a dumb argument. It's a dumb argument. And then people are like, oh, you can't, oh, you're comparing these two. I'm like, bro, no, I'm comparing the argument. If you don't have the brain cells to understand the arguments why these arguments are basically the same thing, or exactly the same thing, actually, then obviously you're being a hypocrite.
And then if you do get touched and you respond, this is a
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say it.
A matter of disrespect. You feel Carmelo Anthony felt disrespected that anyone would dare tell him to leave a place where he doesn't belong. How dare you?
No, he felt disrespected when the guy grabbed him. That was the part where he felt disrespected. And he probably felt disrespected when they said that too, but he didn't act on it. And then they physically tried to grab him, and then he felt really disrespected and decided to attack. He felt threatened at that moment. Like, he probably didn't feel threatened when they said to leave. He probably just sat there and was like, nah, make me.
He felt disrespected and he killed somebody for it. And no, you don't. That's not allowed in a civilized society. We don't allow that. So there's no self-defense here. I think Tim got this wrong.
Again, you're just assuming that he was intending on deleting someone instead of like immobilizing someone. Like, the guy grabbed him, he tries to immobilize him and then runs. Like, someone that's intending on deleting someone doesn't run away after immobilizing them. They make sure that the job is done. And that's not what this guy did.
One wrong, which is okay. We can have disagreements. And the other point that I want to make here before we move on is that, Tim is getting fairly ripped to shreds on X right now, with a lot of people saying that he's a traitor and a grifter and all this because he took this position on the Austin Metcalf thing.
Just ad hominem. Yeah, that's so convincing. Oh, he's a grifter. Oh, he's wrong on this one. Oh, public opinion is gonna be. This is shows temple. Oh, like, bro, I don't care. Like, this is so, like, that's so mentally bankrupt. Like, oh, more people disagree with you than agree with you. Well, therefore, Tim is probably wrong. Like, this is so dumb. This is so stupid. Like, that's not convincing. Well, I mean, that's convincing dumb people that don't really that don't use their brain to like logically think about stuff and just run on emotions whenever it's convenient. But like, I'm not interested in that. Like, that's boring.
He's wrong in my opinion.
Remember, I like Matt Walsh. I'm being really harsh, but I like Matt. Matt is pretty cool. The what is a woman thing that he made, it's legit. I like that. that's serious. I went out and watched his documentary and I thought it was the funniest thing in the entire world. So don't leave this thinking that I dislike Matt Walsh because of this. I just think sometimes Tim's wrong, but Tim is definitely correct on this, because he had a very timid response. Like, look, this is what Tim said. We're gonna go back, and I really appreciate that Matt showed this. And well, I'll let him finish his
we really need
video,
to
and then we'll go
from
back.
This thing where anyone who disagrees is automatically some kind of Judas, some kind of con artist, a grifter, right? I mean, I've talked about this before. This is one of the most annoying things about discourse, what passes for discourse and debate.
Okay. There we go. I literally just said that.
He's wrong, in my opinion. We really need to get away from this thing where anyone who disagrees is automatically some kind of Judas, some kind of con artist.
This is why I respect Matt. And not for another reason. That anyone that knows what I'm saying, shush, don't say anything.
Grifter, right? I mean, I've talked about this before. This is one of the most annoying things about discourse, what passes for discourse and debate in modern American culture, is that we don't even debate anymore. We just don't, because anyone who disagrees is automatically a scam artist. They're automatically a grifter. It's like it's not possible for anyone to actually have an opposing view. And if they do, then it's always just like a game that they're playing. It can never be that, well, maybe they actually just think that and they're simply wrong. That's possible.
Yes. Yes. There we go.
So people can have differing opinions and we can argue about it, and we can argue passionately, as I so often do. But not everything. We don't always have to jump every time to, oh, this person disagreed. Total con artist. Revoke his membership in the club. He's not part of it anymore. Never listening to you again. Unsubscribe.
True.
I'm done with you. It doesn't always have to be that every time. It really doesn't. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going.
All right, we're gonna do the part where he shows the clip. Like, this is what we're talking about here. This is what Tim said.
Kind of lays this out.
There was an argument between Carmelo Anthony, who was from a rival school, who was there, and there were a bunch of kids from this town or whatever, and they got into an altercation. They told him he wasn't supposed to be there. Apparently, they had words. Carmelo Anthony pulled a knife out from his bag and said, "Touch me and see what happens." Witnesses said either he was touched or grabbed. There were different witness accounts, but that Austin Metcalf did put hands on Carmelo, who then stabbed him once in the chest before running away. According to police, Carmelo Anthony, when he got apprehended or turned himself in, however the story goes, I mean, different accounts, he asked if Austin was going to be okay and said it was self-defense. He said he grabbed.
Yes. Oh, bro, like someone that's trying to delete someone. Like, come on now. Like, why would he ask that if he was intending on like attacking and not, wasn't just a self-defense case? Like, come on now. Like, oh.
Grabbed me and I said self-defense. The family's arguing with self-defense.
54. Hey, how's it going? Anna Smith 54. Hey, how's it going?
What happened there? Why did it do that twice? Thank you for the follow. It shouldn't have done that twice, though. I'm actually going to load that down. Load that down. Change audio.
Anna Smith 54. You're welcome, man. Anna Smith 54. You're welcome, man.
Yeah, it's coming out twice. I don't know why. I'm gonna have to fix that. Please don't be someone that's here just to talk about, hey, I want to sell you some art. Because if you are, I'm literally just going to ignore you. Why? Why is this a thing? Do I have a... Why are they coming in twice? Yeah, I'm fixing that right now. I am fixing that right now. It should not be coming in twice. There's a... Where is it? Where is it? There has to be another... doing this live kind of sucks. Kind of sucks. Where is that one? Where is that one? It's probably... Oh, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna... Let's, delete that, right? Have my screen, like, flicker. And then... Okay. Alright. Boom. I think I fixed it. Say something. Actually, I mean, I could say something.
Marie's guy. Let's go.
Alright, nice. There we go. We fixed it. We fixed it! Why are they coming in twice? There we go. Well, I mean, I just turned it off for a second. Now it's back on. How are you doing?
To me,
oh yeah, we need to finish this.
that with this story, the right is adamant that this kid just killed another kid. He should go to prison forever. And I'm like, we don't even know what happened. Like, you've got witness testimony that sounds like a fight happened at a school. Then I've heard the argument, yeah, well, he shouldn't have had a knife. He brought a knife to a school, and it's like, okay, what kind of knife was it? Was it a utility knife? Was it a switchblade? Was it a machete? Like, did he have a steak knife? Was he coming back from culinary class where he had fine Japanese blades for cutting cucumbers? I have no idea. You're allowed to carry knives I'm pretty sure in Texas, especially if it's like a utility blade. You're also not allowed to grab people. Like, nobody knows the exact specifics of this story with Carmelo and Metcalf. Some witnesses said that Austin touched Carmelo. Some say he grabbed him. Whatever. The courts will play it out. If weapons are banned, he's going to go to jail. However, in a general self-defense context, this is why I'm saying the story I find so confusing. We have always maintained, when it comes to self-defense, it is not the responsibility of the victim of an attack to determine the extent of that lethal force.
Yeah.
If they are being attacked, their perception of how far that force goes is it.
So let me. First of all, I like Tim. He's a great guy. He's been on the show a bunch of times.
All right, yeah. So that's all. We already watched the entire video. I just wanted to go over like Tim's like thing, and yeah. So let's get back to what I really wanted to talk do a video on, and it's the culture war with Tim Wick TV and the other guy. Mostly because, oh wait, actually, okay, we'll do this guy first. So we're gonna do all this. We're gonna do the Texas thing twice, I guess. Let's see, what is this guy actually? Well, the actual Justice Warrior might have a better take. Maybe he might be able to convince me to make me disagree with Tim. But I right now I still agree with Tim on that point.
Bond, and this is after a woke left-wing judge that apparently was appointed by Texas Governor Greg Abbott 2 separate times ended up reducing his bond from $1 million to $250,000, and at this point in time the family is fully capable of paying that money. When we last left off this story, we were talking about the GoFundMe for Carmelo Anthony and how it had raised over $400,000. That number is close to $500,000, and I think it is very important for you guys out there in the audience to understand that there are a lot of people spreading the bad information, the lies, the falsehoods about this case because they don't know any better and they're in an isolated media environment where that's all they're being fed. But the people who are spreading this information on purpose, the people who are putting it out there, making fake Facebook posts, making, of course, fake autopsy reports and accusing Austin Metcalf and his brother of doing all sorts of crazy crimes, those people are doing it on purpose. They are doing it intentionally, and a huge reason that that is getting so much play in the internet space is because these people know Carmelo Anthony is guilty. It's not because they believe he's innocent, let me repeat that. It's because they know he's guilty, but they're happy that he killed a white person because they view this and they view getting Carmelo Anthony off on these charges as some kind of racial revenge against white people. Now, that is not to impugn every single individual that's sharing this bad information. Again, a lot of people aren't too involved.
Wait, hold up. Let me go back a little bit.
And I think it is very important for you guys out there in the audience to understand that there are a lot of people spreading the bad information, the lies, the falsehoods about this case because they don't know any better and they're in an isolated media environment where that's all they're being fed. But the people who are spreading this information on purpose, the people who are putting it out there, making fake Facebook posts, making, of course, fake autopsy reports and accusing Austin Metcalf and his brother of doing all sorts of crazy crimes, those people are doing it on purpose. They are doing it intentionally, and a huge reason that that is getting so much play in the internet space is because these people know Carmelo Anthony is guilty. It's not because they believe he's innocent, let me repeat that. It's because they know he's guilty, but they're happy that he killed a white person because they view this and they view getting Carmelo Anthony off on these charges as some kind of racial revenge against white people. Now, that is not to impugn every single individual that's sharing this bad information. Again, a lot of people aren't coming into contact with the facts because they're flooding the zone, and it's not to condemn all black people across the country because, as I've seen in my comments repeatedly, there's a bunch of different black people who understand, based on the facts that we have available now, that this is an unjustified homicide and they would never defend it on tribal or racial lines like these other people. But understand where we're at in this country. It is very similar to the O.J. Simpson jury, who deliberately and admittedly so voted not guilty on O.J. Simpson as revenge for a prior racial grievance. In that particular case, it was for Rodney King.
Do you think that they're members of the jury that voted to acquit O.J. because of Rodney King?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
How many of you think felt that way?
Oh, probably 90% of them.
90%? Did you feel that way?
Yes.
That was payback.
Uh-huh.
You think that's right?
Now, we are going to break this down. We're going to talk about this. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
So let's dive into it. Carmelo Anthony had been in jail since the 2nd of April, accused still today of killing another teenager. That's Austin Metcalf. And that accused killing happened at a track meet at a high school. Today, a judge reduced Anthony's bond from $1 million all the way down to $250,000. JD Miles was there for it. He's live for us right now outside the Collin County Jail. Anthony just left. We saw the video. What else do we need to know?
That's right, Doug and Nicole. Just 6 hours or about that much time after a judge lowered his bond, Carmelo Anthony was released. The judge who made the decision warned the accused murderer that if he violates any terms of his probation or tries to leave his home, he will be brought back right here to the Collin County Jail.
So I want to make something clear because not everybody is being 100% honest about this, but the day that Carmelo Anthony was going to be bailed out of jail was always going to come. It was always going to happen, unless, of course, you had the judge remand him to custody for the safety of the community rather than setting a dollar amount. And this is because Carmelo Anthony's family fundraiser has raised nearly $500,000, and the bond that was attached to him is not a bond where you have to put up the full amount. You can actually put just 10% and get a bail bondsman in order to get a release, because 10% of $1 million is only $100,000. The day that the gifts and go actually paid out to the family was going to be the day that Carmelo Anthony would have been bailed out. So the reduction just allows the family to put up the $25,000 before that payout ends up occurring, so that they can actually secure his release early. So to be clear, even though the judge did this apparently for ideological reasons, possibly for racial reasons based on her prior statements to that effect.
Now when we can have, summer interns come up and they are every race, creed, color, gender, but they can see someone that looks like them on the bench, I think that is so beneficial because it's representation. And when they look at me, young kids, law students, whoever it is, I want them to say, if she can do it, I can do it too.
He was going to get out of jail no matter what, unless, of course, they remanded him to custody, which, by the way, there is a case to be made, because essentially this guy could end up in a situation where somebody says, excuse me, to try to get him out of the way, and then presumably he would stab them in the heart and claim self-defense. That is how violent Carmelo Anthony actually is.
Carmelo, do you have anything that you'd like to say to the victim?
Yeah, I don't disagree that this guy has anger issues. I don't disagree with that at all. Like, that's a very someone grabs you and then your immediate response is to like shank them. Like, that's wild. This is a violent person.
Carmelo Anthony emerged from the Collin County Jail 13 days after his arrest for the murder of Austin Metcalf. The high school student had nothing to say as he headed to his parents' home, where he will be confined to an ankle monitor. It's the result of a hearing this morning over whether to lower his bond. The families of both Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf arrived at the Collin County Courthouse this morning with extra security in and around the courtroom. A new defense attorney representing the Frisco teen accused of murder had his client's father testify about his son's character, telling the judge he was a captain of his football and track teams and that he held 2 jobs while in school. He's an A student, said Andrew Anthony. Does he have plans to go to college? Yes, sir.
And prior to this, what was on his mind was what college he was going to go to. This is a tragedy all the way around for both families.
And by the way, because I already know that he was going to get out of jail awaiting trial in the first place, that's why I'm not so angry about that as much as other people who don't understand what $1 million bond actually means. Also, I will say, I give credit to Give, Send, Go for not pulling down the fundraiser. Remember, the big distinction between them and GoFundMe in the Kyle Rittenhouse case and the Daniel Penny case is that they do allow people to raise money for their criminal defense, even for violent crimes, and they're sticking by that principle, even though the backers of Give, Send, Go traditionally, the right, are the ones putting pressure on them now to pull this fundraiser. So give credit to Give, Send, Go for standing up for their principle, even though
yes, actually, yes. Tim also mentioned that in his podcast that Matt Walsh conveniently left out in his video that that this is, yes, like Give, Send, Go, like doesn't matter like which idea, like they don't care what ideology you have. They're forced, like I think their whole thing is like freedom of speech or something like that. So like freedom of expression, like just because the right disagrees with it doesn't mean that they should just automatically be like, all right, I guess we'll just bend the knee to the right now, instead of just being like, no, we're not bending the knee to any type of ideology, regardless of how you feel of the situation. Which, yeah, I mean, interesting how Matt didn't play that clip, but I still like Matt though. He's pretty cool, Matt Walsh.
The people who donate to Carmelo Anthony's
I'm not gonna lie, he has a very, I have no disagreements with what he's saying right now. I am in full agreement with the actual justice warrior right now.
Are either incredibly ignorant or absolutely repugnant individuals who are doing so to celebrate this murder.
Anthony, who told Frisco police he stabbed 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a track meet in self-defense after an altercation, sat in a jail jumpsuit and shackles, while prosecutors challenged how the father could not afford the 10% needed for $1 million bond, with an online donation fund that's up to $400,000 and growing. With access to over $400,000, why haven't you bonded him out yet? Asked the prosecutor. We don't have access to that money, replied the father.
It's hard for everybody to be level-headed at a time like this, so that's where we come in. It's our job to be level-headed, to be fact-based, and to follow the truth wherever it leads.
And prosecutors revealed today that Carmelo Anthony was involved in an assault-type altercation at his school on February 4th that was handled internally by the school district. Other than that, he has an unblemished record, which is probably one of the reasons why the judge agreed to lower his bond.
But we did find out.
Really? So this guy doesn't even have a pattern of, like, being violent? That's interesting.
In addition to the fact that we have students on the campus at Carmelo Anthony School that talked about his violent tendencies and getting into fights, like this clip right here.
While here at Centennial, students shocked about what happened, that one of their classmates could be charged with such a serious offense. One girl that we spoke with knew Anthony pretty well, that she says, and told us this.
I'm in shock because it's like, I wouldn't expect that from him. I only know him fighting and stuff, like, you know, but to take someone's life is just like a different level.
That he also had.
Okay, so he does have like a history of being someone that is, like she said, fighting. Like, this guy has a history of fighting people, I guess, but I guess never deleting anyone intentionally. Like, he's not going to, like, which still bolsters his, like, that this is evidence to the case of, like, this guy isn't someone that's going to go out and delete someone. He only did this in self-defense, which means, so this doesn't look good on his character, but, like, this looks good on the self-defense case, because, like, it shows that he's not interested in deleting people. If he was interested in deleting people, then he would be, I mean, you could spin that fact in two different ways to be against and for. So, I don't know.
A disciplinary issue that was related to assault that, of course, was adjudicated at the school level, and this is probably due to the fact that the Biden administration decided to institute an equity in discipline program like the Obama administration before him, which essentially makes it incredibly difficult for you to involve law enforcement in crimes that occur in schools, specifically because black people commit more of those crimes, and the Obama and the Biden administration would actually determine that your school was evil, white, and racist for disproportionate suspension rates. Therefore, you would have soft on these kids kind of discipline. So Carmelo Anthony was definitely able to skirt responsibility back in February. So we have a violent history from this individual. We have him attacking people. It is confirmed not just through his record, but through that other student's testimony. So that's new and interesting information that we now have available to us. Now, I also told you that these black activists on Twitter, on social media, even on YouTube, that are defaming Austin Metcalf as a bully, that put out that fake Facebook post, that put out, of course, the fake autopsy that said he was high on drugs, and all this other nonsense that we see about how, oh my God, the evil white racist Metcalf boys attacked him, they turn out to be completely false. And by the way, we have proof positive of that from Carmelo Anthony's own defense team, which issued a statement asking people to stop lying about the case, because in reality, if you portray Carmelo Anthony as the victim of bullying by the Metcalfs, and then he brings a knife to this track meet and then deliberately sits in the tent corresponding to their school, not his school, that actually gives a better case from premeditation, which, by the way, is something that I told you guys on this channel.
And what we was able to hear today from the Frisco Police Department is reassuring that the Frisco Police Department is doing everything that it can to address the racism and the bigotry. We have saw the police chief, a statement being sent out by the police chief that was false. We have saw a false autopsy report that was false. We have to caution the community to say, hey, we cannot trust everything that is online. The disinformation that is going online is hurting this case. And it has to stop. It has to stop, y'all. As we know it right now.
Interesting how Matt Walsh didn't, like, talk about that. Very interesting. Come on, Matt. Come on, Matt. You're supposed to talk about the facts. This did just come out 17 hours ago. So, and Matt Walsh's video was 4 days ago. So maybe this information hasn't been out yet. So, I mean, I'm not going to completely blame Matt for that, but seems kind of convenient. Seems, if I was a conspiracy theorist, I mean, it seems kind of convenient, you know?
Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony did not know each other. They did not know each other. Let's stop it. They were not at a party together. Let's stop the lies regarding this situation.
Oh, that's even, that piece of evidence, that what he's saying right now is even more in favor of, like, self-defense, because someone who, if they know each other, you can make the argument that they're probably, there was probably some beef, so he probably specifically went there with the knife, and because he knew this guy, and he had a beef with this guy, and he tried to go there to try and instigate what's going on. But since they don't know each other, you can't even make that argument because they don't even know each other. This is just some random dude. This is a random coincidence. This is not something that he was intending to do. Like, the way to defeat the self-defense argument, I mean, there's two main ways, but one main way, which I don't think they're going to win on. The second main way they might win on a technicality. But the first main way is the intent. Did he intend to go there to delete someone? And you can't even make that argument. It's very poor to make that argument. Like, just because he had a knife on him doesn't automatically mean he's intending on deleting someone. Him not knowing them is even further to the case of, like, this guy didn't even know anyone here. So, like, how could he intend on deleting someone if he didn't even know who was going to be here? and then but then I guess the only argument the non-defense could make is he's a crazy guy that like looks for fights and wants to attack, then he doesn't care who it is. Like, I guess you could make that argument, but you have to find evidence for that argument. And I mean, him being an impulsive guy, that's evidence to that. But like, just because are we just gonna round up people that are all impulsive, regardless if they actually had a past of doing criminal action or not? Because like, I guess he had a good record. Like, he got into some fights, but like, he didn't like delete anyone. This is literally the first time that happened. But or for the information I have now. But yeah, let's just keep going.
We also know that both Austin, Metcalf, the twin brothers, were on the roster that day to be at that track meet.
So that guy was supposed to be there. He was supposed to be at that track meet, just not that specific tent, probably. So that's even okay. Wow. Okay. I mean, he's making the self-defense case pretty plausible. Like, this guy is giving way more facts to what's going on the ground than Matt Walsh ever did. But I still respect Matt. Like, Matt's just wrong on this. Matt is just wrong on this. Matt Walsh. But okay, interesting.
Also know that Carmelo Anthony was on the roster that day to be at that track meet. We know they both arrived, all of them arrived to this facility via the transportation of Frisco ISD. The lies has to stop, y'all.
So once again, I am proven right, and it's not that difficult to be proven right in this particular case, because we have the police report, which has a summary of the witness testimonies, and nowhere in any of the witness testimonies did it say that both brothers were attacking Carmelo Anthony, or that his phone was broken, or that he was punched, or jumped, or anything of the sort, although that hasn't stopped absolutely idiotic and honestly sinister people on the internet from putting forward fake witnesses and all sorts of other fake documentation in order to make it seem like these evil white racist boys were in the wrong in this particular case.
It was raining, they got rained out like crazy bad. Everybody trying to get back to their cars or get in, you know, places where they, you know, wouldn't get all extra wet. Dude was sitting up on the tent, right? He was on his phone, right? My daughters was up under the same goddamn tent. Yeah. So I'm paying attention to my kids, but at the same time, they're in the same vicinity. So I'm watching everything going on around it because I'm there for my children. So dude, what was up? McKellen, bro, he
bro. I'm gonna say it. What are you saying, man? Like, this is so difficult to understand. Like, I need a translator. Like, my God.
He wasn't even under the tent at the time. They came from a whole separate tent and walked over there. They intentionally went over there to this kid, man. Dude was sitting there on his phone just trying to get dry. You feel me? One thing went from another.
Trying to get dry. Like, what does that mean? What? Trying to get dry. What does that mean? Okay, like, I mean, whatever. This is just dumb. I'm just gonna keep going. Like, he at least, I think he's giving, like, let me go back just a little bit. Because, like, I need to really listen to what this guy is saying in order to, like, understand it.
I'm watching everything going on around it because I'm there for my children. So, dude, what was up? McKellen, bro, he wasn't even under the tent at the time. They came from a whole separate tent and walked over there. They intentionally went over there to this kid, man. Dude was sitting there on his phone just trying to get dry. You feel me? One thing went from another. They grabbed this man and they tried to punch on dude. Dude went in his bag and they went to try to jump this dude and punch on this dude, man. And he protected himself, dude. That's what happened. Yeah, it wasn't just one. It was both of them, bro. Austin.
Yeah, it was him versus a bunch of people. It wasn't just one altercation with one guy grabbing. There was a couple of people around him. So, like, it makes sense for the intent. Like, this.
Grace Kingdom 5. Hello, fellow steer mares. I really love the way you stream, but I was verified that.
Yeah, that's great. Cool. I don't care. Anyways. Wait, why is that doubled now? That's wild. Hold up. I got 2 kick streams. Okay. All right, well, I'm gonna have to. You know what? I don't even care. That one will just stay disappeared. But yeah.
The dude that do this got unalive and his brother physically went over there to.
This is a one-sided account, so like I'm not gonna use this as like 100%, but like speculation seems like this is kind of like what people are like I'm not gonna, if this is, he's a witness, right? Is this like a witness account?
Intentionally, it's not to the point that he brought a knife. For one, it wasn't on school property. The school is at least 5 to 10 miles away. It was community track meet, bruh. It wasn't a school track meet. So he had the right.
Oh, what? Okay, so I had another the other situation where he could lose the argument, and wait, so like, and I was gonna say it was because of a technicality, because he would be on school grounds, and no one knows if this was on school grounds. And if what this guy is saying is true, they don't even have the argument saying like, oh, you're not allowed to bring any weapons to school grounds. Therefore, if you have a weapon on school grounds, any type of self-defense argument just goes out the window. And that's what Tim was talking about, Tim Pool specifically. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. But if this is true, that they weren't even on school grounds, then that argument doesn't even work. What? Okay.
Right to have a knife on his person, bro.
So that was a fake witness, by the way, that doesn't appear on.
Oh, damn. So that was a fake witness. Okay. Well, all right. I feel dumb now.
Any of the police reports where they redacted the names of people who are underage, even though this person said that he had 2 daughters that were in that particular tent. And this person was platformed all over social media, despite the fact that everything that he says sounds ridiculous and absurd. It doesn't even match the other lies that these people told about the case. And again, he talks with a lacking in intelligence that is actually unbelievable. I mean, again.
Oh, shit. I was kind of criticizing him for a second, and then I'm like, you know what, let me take this guy seriously. But now the actual Justice War is saying that this is completely a lie, and I'm like, well, damn. I mean, I called it out first, at least. Hey, I called it out first, and then I was like, you know what, let me actually give this guy a fair take.
You have a guy saying, yeah, so the Metcalf boys, they ended up coming over and they just sucker punched him because Carmelo was just on his phone, or, you know, reading about chemistry and nuclear physics, and then these evil white racists with their evil white racism came at them. Like, it's crazy. It's madness. The fact that anybody would believe this is absurd. But again,
hey, I kind of believed it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, but like,
lies never stop. If you want to know what black activists are lying about in the Carmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf case, the answer is everything. We were also told multiple different times that Carmelo Anthony, $140 maximum, 130 pounds, but we actually have from his intake form at the Austin jail that he's closer to 160 pounds. Now they're also going with that the Austin Metcalf kid was over 200 pounds, at 200 pounds, 235 pounds, or 250 pounds. Again, they're just making up stuff to try to maximize the claim, and they would not do this if not for the fact that Carmelo Anthony is obviously guilty of homicide. There is nothing that is ever going to nerf the fact that Carmelo Anthony baited Austin Metcalf over to him. As we've heard in all of the witness statements that we have available to him, he reached into his bag prior to Austin Metcalf approaching him, had the knife, said, touch me and see what happens, and then stabbed him in the heart when he was touched. This is not self-defense. You're supposed to have a
No, that is self-defense. That is self-defense. Touch me and see what happens, and then he doesn't use the knife until he was touched. Yes. And he was approaching him, and as they were approaching him, he was taking the knife out. It's not like the guy with the knife was approaching them with the knife. They were approaching the guy with the knife as he was taking it out. And then he says, touch me and see what happens. They touch him, and then they saw what happened. Like, bro, like, this is that's self-defense. What's not self-defense is if Carmelo was approaching them, taking out the knife, and then these guys are like, the guys, it's not like those guys were telling them to, like, the guys here were telling him to leave, and they were approaching him. So, like, yes.
fear, not just a fear that exists, but a fear that an objectively reasonable person would have of imminent death or serious bodily harm in order to use lethal force in response to force. And nobody is ever going to make the case that the Metcalf kid won individually, because there's no evidence of both of them attacking him. And in fact, the evidence shows the exact opposite, was going to kill Carmelo Anthony and or seriously injure him. So there's no case at all whatsoever for self-defense. So these people just make stuff up and again try to raise money in order to reward him because they like the idea of Carmelo Anthony killing a white boy. It is racial revenge for them. That's why in the replies to a bunch of my tweets,
I don't agree with the whole racial revenge nonsense. I think it's stupid, but like, so what actually happened then? Did he like, so, I mean, he like, actual Justice Warrior said that the guy got hit, like he did get touched, and then he used the knife. If you were to use the knife before he got any type of like indication of any type of like approach or a somewhat that he could call or make an excuse of like being attacked, then yes, like if it's not self-defense if Carmelo decides to go and approach and attack this guy and then uses the knife. It's self-defense if the guy approaches him, and then they try to physically remove him, and then he uses the knife to defend himself. That is self-defense, regardless if you think that he's supposed to be in that situation, in that location or not. And apparently he's not even, oh, wait, that's a lie too, isn't it? That they weren't on school grounds. So maybe he was on school grounds. Okay, so that technicality probably still exists then. Where, because like, he showed a thing, it was convincing, and actual Justice Warrior says, yeah, that's all completely a lie. And I'm like, oh wait, so all that I need to erase from my mind now. Damn.
I'm starting to hear about George Zimmerman, Daniel Penny, Kyle Rittenhouse, and all these different other various people that they feel have wronged the blacks because they want the revenge. And again, when you say George Zimmerman means that Carmelo Anthony should be let go, these people believe George Zimmerman is guilty of murder in the Trayvon Martin case. So just like the black jurors in the O.J. Simpson case, they want Carmelo Anthony, who they also are acknowledging by the very existence of this statement is in fact guilty, let go because he's black and the victim is white, and they want revenge. But guess what? The law does not support them in any way. George Zimmerman was able to put up an adequate self-defense case, and that's why he was found not guilty. Kyle Rittenhouse had the most obvious self-defense case in the history of the world. Everything was caught on video. And Daniel Penny had a obvious self-defense / defense of others case in the case with Jordan Neely. He also never intended to kill Jordan Neely and was using physical force that ultimately inadvertently led to the death of Jordan Neely, unlike Carmelo Anthony pulling out a knife, which is an instrument of deadly force, and stabbing Austin Metcalf in the chest. Now, of course, I've been going hard at a bunch of these different black activists repeatedly on this particular video and in my previous videos, but we definitely got to spread the pain because Tim Pool also had a god-awful take. One of the worst imaginable.
What? All right.
Basic facts wrong or has them askew and has no understanding of self-defense, even in a state like Texas, which has some of the best self-defense protections in the entire country.
One where he says, what is it? Nothing matters but this. He was at a school event at the wrong team's tent with a knife. He clearly chose murder than to walk away, cut and dry here. Nope, wrong.
No, actually, that commenter, the person who sent that super chat that Tim Pool read, is 100% right. Nothing matters but the fact that he baited him into this altercation when Carmelo was...
Are we really just going to use like a 5-second clip of Tim Pool saying something and not actually getting the information that we're... Okay, all right, well... well, now I know. Now I see... Now I see why my friend recommended this video. Because he uses a 10-second clip as if this is supposed to like be like, oh, Tim Pool wrong because a 10-second clip. Like, okay, that's just retarded.
In the wrong tent, and he escalated to deadly force when it was not needed. That is the whole argument, but Tim Pool's gonna roll into this analogy, which he will admit is not a one-to-one analogy, but it's absolutely terrible in every possible way.
Oh, okay.
Imagine you are invited to a party at someone else's house, and you are legally carrying a firearm. And then a fight breaks out, and or like an altercation breaks out between you and some guy, and you know there's drinking involved or whatever. I'm not trying to make a one-for-one scenario. I'm trying to create a potential scenario separate from this one with similarities. You go to a party. Yeah, let's say you go to a party, and some guy starts saying stuff like, "Yo, man, get out of here." And you're like, "I can do what I want. I was invited to the party." Verbal altercation escalates, and then the dude, you're standing there, and you pull your sweater back, and you've got a gun. You put your hand up and say, "Don't come close to me, bro. I'm warning you right now. Do not come close. Do not take another step." Then the guy grabs your arm and makes a move, so you draw your weapon and you use it. Okay, make the argument you have no right to defend yourself when you're being attacked by a guy. Make the argument, by all means. Go ahead and do so. I ain't gonna do it.
So yeah, this is stupid for a number of reasons. First and foremost...
No, that's... oh, wait, nope. Okay, so Tim Pool... Ah, man, why did I agree to that? I sent that text not finishing the video, thinking that it's gonna be a good video or a good criticism of Tim. But no, that is actually a good that is definitely 100% a good analogy for this situation, because that's what happened. Like, he was in a location, they didn't want him to be there, and the guy said, if you approach me, you're going to get attacked. Like, that's it. He's going to defend himself, and whatever happens, happens. Like, yes, that's a perfectly one-to-one analogy. That is a perfectly good one-to-one analogy, except for the fact that, Tim, we don't, like, instead of a party, he should have used, like, well, that's the thing, though. We don't know if this place was a weapon-free zone or whatever. Because if it's a weapon-free zone, then self-defense just disappears, which kind of sucks, but...
If you're at a party at somebody else's house and that person asks you to leave their property because you're not welcome there, you cannot show a gun and say, don't come at me, bro, I'm gonna kill you if you do, or something to that effect, and then get away with shooting that individual.
Well, actually, let's see. What did Tim actually say legitimately? Let me listen to that one more time.
What?
Imagine you are invited to a party at someone else's house, and you are legally carrying a firearm. And then a fight breaks out, and or like an altercation breaks out between you and some guy, and, you know, there's drinking involved or whatever. I'm not trying to make a one-for-one scenario. I'm trying to create a potential scenario separate from this one.
Oh, okay. So Tim is literally not making a one-to-one, like, situation. He's just saying that this is, like, imagine this. Like, are you actually going to use the same principle of, like, no self-defense? And, yeah, okay. That makes sense to me.
You go to a party. No, yeah, let's say you go to a party. And some guy starts saying stuff like, yo, man, get out of here. And you're like, I can do what I want. I was invited to the party. Verbal altercation escalates. And then the dude, you're standing there, and you pull your sweater back, and you've got a gun. You put your hand up and say, don't come close to me, bro. I'm warning you right now. Do not come close. Do not take another step. Then the guy grabs your arm and makes a move. So you draw your weapon, and you use it.
Yeah, that's self-defense. That is self-defense. You're literally warning the other guy that you were going to use lethal force. And just like in the Carmela case, the guy showed that he had a knife, and he said, don't, like, touch me and see what happens. Like, and they touched him, and the guy grabbed it. In Tim's analogy, the guy grabbed his hand, so he used the weapon. In real world, the guy grabbed him and tried to physically remove him, and then he used his knife. Like, that's self-defense. Like, whether you think it's a threat or not doesn't change the fact that it's still self-defense. Like, he's not... If he was intending, like... I feel like people don't understand what self-defense is. Like, self-defense isn't, oh, you threaten me, and when I react to your threat, then it's not self-defense anymore because I lose all agency because I wasn't, like, mentally, like, strong enough to, like, ignore your threat or whatever. Like, bro, like, that's just... It's kind of stupid.
Okay, make the argument you have no right to defend yourself when you're being attacked by a guy. Make the argument. By all means, go ahead and do so. I ain't gonna do it.
So yeah, this is stupid for a number of reasons. First and foremost, if you're
it's not stupid, but continue.
At a party at somebody else's house and that person asks you to leave their property because you're not welcome there, you cannot show a gun and say, don't come at me, bro, I'm gonna kill you if you do, or something to that effect, and then get away with
Actually, yeah. Yeah, you can. You can. Like, if you show the gun and then they try to physically approach you, like, even though they know that you have a weapon, then yeah, self-defense. Like, what?
shooting that individual. So no, you do not have the right to self-defense in an altercation where you're not somewhere you're legally allowed to be. If somebody says,
well, Tim literally said that this, like, he legally is allowed to have that weapon. He was invited to that place. So I like how he's completely ignoring the fact that in Tim's analogy is that Tim said he's legally allowed to have the weapon and he was invited there. So he was supposed to be there because he was invited. Like, are we just going to ignore Tim's analogy and just pretend that Tim didn't say these things just to say Tim is dumb? Like, this is stupid. This is a nice little tricky manipulation thing that he's doing right here. This is tricky. I'm not going to fall for it.
As you can't be on this property anymore, you don't get to shoot them over it because they try to push you out of that property. So that's a terrible analogy on its own, but it also, again,
no, your analogy of what you think Tim is saying is terrible. What Tim actually said was spot on.
Is not remotely close
Where's
to the
Neri?
situation at hand.
AJW does him proper.
Yeah, but AJW did a pretty good job in the beginning when he was talking about all the facts and stuff, and which is good. And he was calling out the nonsense that this guy, this random dude said in another part. But his criticism of Tim is just completely off base. And the little slight manipulation that he's doing in changing Tim's words in this video, I mean, that's a little, like, it's a little Destiny-esque, let's just say that, to do that. But, okay.
Remember, Carmelo Anthony pulled out the knife when he was asked to leave, not when he was touched, when he was asked to leave. That's what all the witness statements say. Now, people didn't realize that he had taken the knife out, and when he was saying, touch me and see what happens, they weren't exactly...
Wait, what? No, that's retarded. Wait. So we have the statement that we know for a fact that he took out the knife as he was being told to, like, not like be in that location. So they know that. But I guess the people that were there didn't see him take it out, even though he was showing it. Like, that's like, you can't have it both ways. What? Let me listen to that one more time.
At hand. Remember, Carmelo Anthony pulled out the knife when he was asked to leave, not when he was touched, when he was asked to leave. That's what all the witness statements say. Now, people didn't realize that he had taken the knife out, and when he was saying, touch me and...
Yeah, bro, like, that's kind of stupid to say. Like, what? He was taking it out, and we know that he was taking it out, but the people there on the ground had no idea he was taking it out. That's retarded.
See what happens. They weren't exactly sure that he had a weapon. In fact, they all doubted that he had a weapon, but then he gets
Where's Neri?
over to him.
It was in the bag, I thought.
Him, which is...
It was in the... Yeah, it was in the bag, and he took it out as they were telling him to, like, get out of here. And it was a group of people, and it was just one guy. And so, like, obviously they saw him taking something out of the bag while they were doing this. Like, we're sitting here pretending that these people had no idea that he had a weapon, even though everyone knows that he had a weapon. Like, this is stupid. This is really stupid.
What Carmelo asked for, which, by the way, shows that he was not in fear for his life or imminent serious bodily harm. And then he brings out the concealed knife and stabs them. You are not allowed as a...
He brings out a concealed knife. Bro, if someone is reaching into a bag and you're approaching them and the guy, like Carmelo, is literally saying, touch me and see what happens, and he's reaching into his bag for something, bro, what do you think is gonna, like, he's just gonna take out something that's not going to hurt you? Like, what? This is stupid. This is stupid. This is a dumb take.
Gun owner to pick a fight with somebody when you're legally not allowed to be there, or in that case he was legally allowed to be there, but because you're asked to leave, and then pull out a weapon and escalate it to deadly force.
Yeah, he was asked to leave and he didn't want to leave. That doesn't mean he's not supposed to be there. Okay, like, he was correct in the beginning, and I gave him his like, he talked about all the facts, but this is just, we're doing the whole assumption nonsense again. And yeah, okay, whatever.
That is a terrible analogy. It's wrong in the analogy, and it's wrong in the Carmelo Anthony case.
Here, actually, no. We're gonna go back. We're gonna watch Tim's analogy because he thinks this analogy is dumb. I think Tim's analogy is perfectly spot on.
Analogy, which he will admit is
Where's
not
Neri?
a one-to-one analogy.
I thought the tent was not for his school.
Well, I'm not sure about that. But, like, regardless if it wasn't for his school or not, like, he was there and he was supposed to be at the track meet.
But it's absolutely terrible in every possible way.
Imagine you are invited to a party at someone else's house and you are legally carrying a firearm.
Actually, we don't even know if he was supposed to be there or not, so I'm not sure about that.
And then a fight breaks out, and or an altercation breaks out between you and some guy, and, you know, there's drinking involved or whatever. I'm not trying to make a one-for-one scenario. I'm trying to create a potential scenario separate from this one with similarities. You go to a party. No, yeah, let's say you go to a party, and some guy starts saying stuff like, "Yo, man, get out of here." And you're like, "I can do what I want. I was invited to the party." Verbal altercation escalates, and then the dude, you're standing there, and you pull your sweater back, and you've got a gun. You put your hand up and say, "Don't come close to me, bro. I'm warning you right now. Do not come close. Do not take another step." Then the guy grabs your arm and makes a move, so you draw your weapon and you use it. Okay, make the argument you have no right to defend yourself when you're being attacked by a guy. Make the argument. By all means, go ahead and do so. I ain't gonna do it.
So yeah, this is stupid for a number of reasons. First and foremost, if you're at a party at somebody else's house and that person asks you to leave their property because you're not welcome there, you cannot...
See, this is the thing that he does. We're gonna pretend that he wasn't, like, he says that we're invited there, but, like, we're gonna pretend that Tim didn't say that there was an altercation that was going on. Like, we're just gonna be like, oh, this guy just willy-nilly just said, no, I don't want, like, the guys just said, oh, just leave, and then you show them the weapon as if, like, they're overreacting. The guy didn't overreact. The guy, Yeah, we'll just keep going. We're gonna just skip through. I already talked my head out of that on that one.
This person can defend their property because then your invitation has been rescinded. Again, aggressively terrible analogy from Tim Pool that does not match the circumstances that we have in the Carmelo Anthony case, and is not even a one-to-one analogy. Again, I understand.
Yeah, you're never gonna get a.
I'm AJW boy. Boo at Tim. Winky face.
Nah, I'm full on Tim. I am full on Tim. Tim is completely correct on this. I think Tim is correct on this, but not because of the whole dumb racial aspect. I think that racial aspect is stupid. And let me just wait, no. So what this guy said is
Where's Neri? I knew you'd say that.
I think the racial this is the thing that I don't like about the racial aspect. It's just stupid. It's stupid. I think the way that the black community is reacting to this and why they're defending it is a stupid reason, but that's not the reason why I think Tim is correct on this. I think Tim is correct because that analogy is on point. Self-defense, regardless of whether you feel like this is a bad thing or not. Like, people are like, we watched the Matt Walsh thing, and then people were talking about how, like, Matt was talking about how, like he was I think Matt did a better job at actually doing this. This guy is being a little bit too deceitful in how Tim was responding to this, but I'm gonna keep going.
The circumstances were laid out to be different, but they don't match at all. And anybody who's backing this is absurd. I like Tim just fine. I'm not saying.
Wait, let me just find this part. Where is it? Where is it? I think it was after this. Okay, this.
Crazy bad.
His boys were in the wrong in this particular case.
It was raining. It got rained out like crazy bad. Everybody trying to get back to their cars or get in, places where they, wouldn't get all extra.
All of this guy, what he's saying is false.
With it. Dude.
Where's Neri? The difference in levels of violence is a bit much. Why a knife at a school track meet?
Yeah, we don't know that. We don't know why he had that thing in a school track meet. So to speculate that he's there for ill intent is also stupid but also assuming that he's there just for all good intent is also stupid. But like, I don't like the whole intellectual dishonesty by like not turning on your brain because guy has knife. We don't even know what type of knife it is. Like, there's definitely probably a reason.
I never had a knife at school.
They shouldn't have a knife at school. That's why I think he's probably going to end up losing the self-defense case because of a technicality where it's a weapon-free zone. But we don't even know if that's true or not. But like, he could lose because of the weapon-free zone. So like, it doesn't matter whether he was defending himself or not. Like, if it's a weapon-free zone, you're not supposed to have that. So regardless of the intent of the actual person, but if it is a weapon, if it's not a weapon-free zone, then the intent of the person of using the weapon is what is the only piece of information that matters for self-defense. Whether people regardless of what people feel about the situation.
Dude was sitting up under the tent, right? He was on his phone, right? My daughters was up under the same goddamn tent. Yeah. So I'm paying attention to my kids, but at the same time, they're in the same vicinity, so I'm watching everything going on around.
Where's Neri? Can you stab someone if you were pushed?
If you feel like you're threatened because of that push, then yes, it would be self-defense. Like, everyone keeps saying, in hindsight, everything looks easy to like distinguish, but in the moment, you don't know if that push is going to escalate into anything more. Like in hindsight, it's very easy to judge people on hindsight, but in the moment, when you can't see into the future of what's going to happen, you can't that's just an intellectually dishonest way to like analyze things. Like, yes, in hindsight, what happened was a bad thing, but in the moment, that kid didn't know that he was going to end up perfectly deleting someone.
I think there is video, but not something I want to see.
I don't think there's any video because people would have like shown it.
Track meet, bro. It wasn't a school track meet, so he had the right to have a knife on his person, bro.
So that was a fake witness, by the way, that doesn't appear on any of the police reports where they redacted the names of people who are underage, even though this person said.
Yeah, this is all what that guy was saying was completely false, and which is annoying because like he frames it in such a he frames it in such a positive way for the defense, but like he just lies, and I'm like, bro, you're just muddying the water. Like, we don't need this nonsense. But this piece of information
of bullying by the Metcalfs, and then he brings a knife to this track meet and then deliberately sits in the tent corresponding to their school, not his school. That actually gives a better case from premeditation, which, by the way, is something that I told you guys on this channel.
And what we was able to hear today from the Frisco Police Department is reassuring that the Frisco Police Department is doing everything that it can to address the racism and the bigotry. We have saw the police chief a statement.
Again, I think that's over-exaggerated, but...
That was the bit about the tent.
But we'll just keep going.
Being sent out by the police chief, that was false. We have saw a false autopsy report. That was false. We have to caution the community to say, hey, we cannot trust everything that is online. The disinformation that is going online is hurting this case.
Yes, and he's specifically talking about this part where we were watching this guy. But yeah, I think he has a good case for self-defense, but I think Actual Justice Ward does a good job in the beginning of being fair of and showing all of the evidence. Like that was a good, like, Actual Justice Ward has really had a good response to the actual case, but specifically on Tim Pool's analogy, like that was not a the little manipulative behavior that he did with Tim Pool's analogy was a little bit dishonest here, a little bit dishonest. Fair, like. I'm gonna go run down that thing one more time, but I'm gonna try and like not speak over it, just so we can play it as like a full clip.
Fight breaks out, and you at his house.
But Tim Pool's gonna roll into this analogy, which he will admit is not a one-to-one analogy, but it's absolutely terrible in every possible way.
Imagine you are invited to a party at someone else's house, and you are legally carrying a firearm, and then a fight breaks out, and or like an altercation breaks out between you and some guy, and there's drinking involved or whatever. I'm not trying to make a one-for-one scenario. I'm trying to create a potential scenario separate from this.
So he admits it, yeah.
You go to a party. No, yeah, let's say you go to a party, and some guy starts saying stuff like, "Yo, man, get out of here." And you're like, "I can do what I want. I was invited to the party." Verbal altercation escalates, and then the dude, you're standing there, and you pull your sweater back, and you've got a gun. And you put your hand up and say, "Don't come close to me, bro. I'm warning you right now. Do not come close. Do not take another step." Then the guy grabs your arm and makes a move, so you draw your weapon and you use it. Okay, make the argument you have no right to defend yourself when you're being...
Yeah, that wasn't a one-to-one, Tim admit that, but that is kind of like what happened. That is analogous to what happened. It's not a one-to-one comparison, but like we're not making a one-to-one comparison. So like it's saying that it's not a one comparison is not an argument against what Tim is saying. Like he literally admit that. So like just repeating it isn't actually saying anything.
AJW does say he's open to new evidence. He's not doing a Destiny. Nearly ruined that.
No, I mean... that's not what he was doing for why I said he was doing a Destiny. Well, when he says it, I'll point it out.
Being attacked by a guy. Make the argument. By all means, go ahead and do so. I ain't gonna do it.
So yeah, this is stupid for a number of reasons. First and foremost, if you're at a party at somebody else's house and that person asks you to leave their property because you're not welcome there, you cannot show a gun and say, "Don't come at me, bro. I'm gonna kill you if you do," or something to that effect, and then get away with shooting that individual. So no, you do not.
Yes, actually you can. If you were invited there, and then the people that invited you changed their mind midway with like while you were there, that's not on you. That's on them. They're the ones that changed their mind, and they're the ones that they're the ones that are trying to attack you when you obviously showed them that you have the weapon. This is the little manipulation thing that I think he's doing, kind of like how Destiny is. Like that is a way of doing it. He's preemptively saying that this is something that's supposed to be dumb, and this is why it's dumb. And I'm like, no, just use your head just for like 2 seconds.
Do not have the right to self-defense in an altercation where you're not somewhere you're legally allowed to be. If somebody says...
He was legally allowed to be there until they immediately changed their mind afterwards. But like, this is the little manipulation thing that I'm saying. I said I wasn't gonna like pause it so many times, but this is what I mean. This is not what happened. He's changing what's going on, and he admitted that Tim said that this is not a perfectly one-to-one analysis to what's going on. So like him saying that over and over again isn't actually like changing anyone else's. It's just repeating himself.
Granted, on that I see your point.
This is the little manipulated thing that he's doing here to make it seem like what Tim is saying is much worse than it actually is.
You can't be on this property anymore. You don't get to shoot them over it because they try to push you out of that property. So that's a terrible analogy on its own. But
yeah, the analogy that you pretended that Tim made is a bad. Yeah, what he said was bad. What this guy said is bad. What Tim said was good, but he's changing what Tim is saying, and I don't like that.
It also, again, is not remotely close to the situation at hand. Remember, Carmelo Anthony pulled out the knife when
we already established that Tim wasn't making a one-to-one comparison. But I digress. I guess we're just going to keep repeating that, aren't we?
Asked to leave, not when he was touched, when he was asked to leave. That's what all the witness statements say. Now, people didn't realize that he had taken the knife out, and when he was saying, touch me and see what happens, they were...
I already made this point where he said, like, I mean, I already, like, you came in at this part where he said, like, this is kind of dumb to think, like, we know that he has that in 2020, but I guess at the time they didn't realize that he was reaching into his bag to get something to hurt them. So, like, oh, they didn't realize what was going on, even though he literally was, like, if Carmelo was making a threat, why would they automatically assume that what he's taking out of his bag isn't something that he's going to use?
Tim's opinion hasn't gone down well on the right.
Yeah, he said that, I'm sure, of sorts, and I agree with Tim. I'm not like a righty or a just like how I don't like how Destiny is like so partisan hacky on the left, and he'll just excuse every single thing that the left says. Well, nowadays, before he used to not do that. Like, Tim isn't going to do the same thing, but for the right as well. That's why I like Tim. He has his own mind. He doesn't care what conservatives or liberals or what camp is making what.
Where's Neri? I'm off. Winky face. Joking.
When you say you're off, you're leaving? Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, but a lot of people on the right didn't like what Tim was saying. Yeah, he is getting deleted. But I respect him in not changing his opinion because based on what other people say. Like, regardless if they're on the same team or not. I respect that about Tim.
Exactly sure that he had a weapon.
Where's
in
Neri?
fact, they all doubted
Cause
that he had...
you said you weren't right.
What do you mean?
A weapon, but then he gets Austin to come over to him. Austin touches him, which is what Carmelo asked for, which by the way shows that he was not in fear for his life or imminent serious bodily harm. And then he brings out the concealed knife and stabs them. You are not allowed as a gun owner to...
Where's Neri?
See, that
was a terrible joke. Winky face.
Oh, that's why I didn't. Oh, okay. I'm confused. Wait. Before you tell me what the joke, because like I didn't even notice that you made a joke. This what he just said here is also a contradiction. He took out the concealed knife. If it was concealed, like, how do you take out something and could still conceal it at the exact same time? Obviously, as soon as he took it out, it wasn't concealed anymore. So the people on the ground that was being threatened saw that they had the knife, but the people on the ground also still didn't know that he had a knife until he took it out and said, touch me and see what happens. Like, he said, touch me, see what happens, as he had the knife in his hand, visible to everyone to see. It's not like he was...
Where's Neri?
Like...
You said you weren't on the right. I'm off.
Oh. I mean, I'm leaning right, but I'm not like 100% like I'll just agree with everything that the right says. But mostly, the reason I say I'm mostly leaning right is because of Tim Pool's, the way that he thinks. Tim is like he says that he leans left, but he has a lot of like right-leaning friends.
You might have to see it. I get what you mean about the knife.
Yeah, I would have to see the video too. That's why I'm like, I'm not 100% like the guy's gonna win self-defense. He could lose self-defense on a technicality because of the, if this is a legit zone where you're not supposed to have any weapon of any kind, then the intent argument just goes out the window. It doesn't matter what that guy was feeling in the situation. You're not supposed to have that in that location. So therefore you lose the self-defense case. But like, if I feel like that's the only way he could lose.
I don't really want to see it though. Sad face.
Yeah, I don't want to see it either, but it would obviously make, like, if we were to see it, I don't, like, if that video existed, we would see it automatically. I think it would have leaked to the internet a while ago. So I don't think that video exists, but yeah.
Pick a fight with somebody when you're legally not allowed to be there, or in that case he was legally allowed to be there, but because you're asked to leave, and then pull out a weapon and escalate it to deadly force. That is a terrible analogy. It's wrong in the analogy, and it's wrong in the Carmelo Anthony case.
Yeah, your analogy is terrible because what your analogy is not what Tim said. So obviously the analogy that you made and pretending that Tim said this is obviously wrong, but like Tim didn't say this, so I'm just repeating myself.
Because the Carmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf case is much, much worse than the situation that Tim ended up bringing up, even though that is arguably not self-defense.
I don't know the circumstances. You can argue that you're in a place you're not supposed to be. You can argue it's that guy's house, and it doesn't matter. A guy can invite you into his, your neighbor could be like, come on over, brother. And then if he gets physical with you, you can defend yourself. And then
yes,
the police are gonna be like, well,
true. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you.
You were in his house, and it's like, yeah, he invited me in.
Then Tim says, oh, a guy could invite you over to his house, and then if he gets physical with you, then you can defend yourself. Again, another situation that doesn't even match the previous analogy. If you're invited to somebody's house.
Yes, it's an analogy, not a one-to-one take. Like, a one-to-one take is Tim literally using the same people in the same scenario, but just changing their names. That's like, you're never gonna get that type of analogy. Like, analogies are supposed to be similar, not identically like the exact same thing. But, whatever.
Then yes, the castle doctrine does not apply. That is for intruders, unwelcome entrance to your property. But if you are invited over, then yes, if you attack the person you invited over, that person has the right to self-defense. Again, that is where you are legally allowed to be. That being said, if you are asked to leave and you resist leaving, then this person can defend their property because then your invitation has been rescinded. Again, aggressively terrible analogy from Tim Pool that does not match the circumstances that we have in the Carmelo Anthony case and is not.
Oh, yes. Actually, no, it matches because, like, well, actually, we don't even know if it matches because actual Justice Ward doesn't know if that guy was supposed to be there in the first place. Like, everyone keeps saying, oh, it's a different tent, therefore he's not supposed to be there. But just because it's a different team's tent doesn't mean that he's not supposed to be in that location. If he really wasn't supposed to be there, then maybe there should have been like some security or something. Wait, why did I don't. Like, there's supposed to be, like, some security if he literally was not supposed to be in that specific spot.
Not even a one-to-one analogy. Again, I understand the circumstances were laid out to be different, but they don't match at all. And anybody who's backing this is absurd. I like Tim just fine. I'm not saying you should cancel him forever or you should hate him forever based on this particular take, but it goes to show you that he is not well-versed in the facts of this particular case, not well-versed in self-defense law, because let me be clear about this, in no state at all whatsoever in this great nation can you...
Just claiming Tim is saying that isn't actually saying it. Like, you say that Tim doesn't have the facts. Tim literally was talking about, Tim is literally saying it. Tim's whole point was that no one has any information.
Mercenary.
This just came out.
Waiting there with a knife isn't the act of someone who would look innocent, though.
I'm not saying that he's innocent. Like, the guy isn't innocent. I don't think he's not innocent at all. He's obviously someone that has, like, anger issues, obviously. But just because someone has anger issues doesn't mean that they can claim self-defense when someone like physically threatens him by, like, literally grabbing the guy. Like, he was grabbed. He was physically touched. And then after he was physically touched, he used the weapon. That's what happened. We don't know how he was physically touched, but honestly, it doesn't even matter what we think. Like, the proportional response thing is dumb here, because, like, just because we don't think it's proportional doesn't mean that in that moment that guy felt like it was a proportional response. If that guy can make the argument that he felt like it was a proportional response for what happened, then it doesn't matter what AJ or what I or what Tim thinks. Like, that's self-defense regardless, which plays in. That's why I said this is all going to come down to the intent of the person, which I think there's a lot of evidence saying that this guy was not intending on deleting someone. I don't think he's innocent. I'm not saying he's innocent. I think he should just get, like, a manslaughter because someone died. But, like, saying that he deliberately went there to attack this guy and kill someone, That's obviously not what happened. That's not what happened. Like, that's the thing that everyone keeps jumping the gun on, and we don't even know all of the information. And that was essentially Tim's point. But, like, it's funny how they don't even, like, I guess we'll find... let me find the actual video. Let me find the video. So we watched the Matt Walsh thing. We could delete. We can actually just X this out.
I guess so.
It's the jumping the gun thing that Tim was making the legit point of. Tim Cast IRL. And we know which one it is. And I'm just gonna jump to where he makes that point, because like,
but
all right, we're gonna transcript this because I don't want to watch the full 2 hours. View transcript. Control F. What is it? Self-defense? Self-defense. Good. There's only 6. I thought there'd be like hundreds. No. It's not in the it's not in the transcript. All right. All right, so what's this?
Potential cases that we may see on grounds like schools, and it's more of a...
Oh. Okay, so we're gonna copy that. I'm like, they had to have used it multiple times in this video.
Was going to be okay and said it was self-defense. He said he grabbed me and I said self-defense. The family is arguing it was self-defense. It's family, a campaign on Give, Send, Go, and I get it.
So we're just going to, all right, so we're going to do this, we'll do this little cut. Let's do this little cut. Ironically, they had a black guy on this as they were talking about this, so.
Conspiracy theory destroyed by spokesman for Killer Boy, who's one from the
conservative view on things.
Let's jump to this next story. Ladies and gentlemen, we got this one from the Daily Mail. The Austin Metcalf conspiracy theory destroyed by spokesman for Killer Boy, whose family can no longer go outside. Okay, this is a weird way to phrase the story, but for many of you, you may have seen this. It's a story of Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. Now, when I heard that Carmelo Anthony stabbed a high school high school athlete, I was shocked that a former NBA player would go to a high school and stab a kid. But in fact, this is a different Carmelo Anthony. He's got his name starts with a K and not a C. Okay. Yeah, and so people are like to hear about Carmelo Anthony stabbing that guy. I was like, what?
Yeah.
An NBA dude?
Yeah.
Okay, so the story's really crazy. Right now...
Hello, dude. Fantastic stream. I will love to watch your next stream. Let's chat on
Nah, we'll not chat on Discord, but thanks for the follow.
The big controversy is that GoFundMe, not GoFundMe, Give, Send, Go, is running a fundraiser for... Let me see if I can find the Give, Send, Go for Carmelo. And people are demanding that it... is this it right here? Help Carmelo.
When he says people, he means conservatives.
Carmelo official fund. Yup. Look at this right here. $293,417 raised for Carmelo. It's the official support fund for his family. People are demanding on the right that Give, Send, Go be boycotted because they should not be allowing this killer to raise money, and the money should go to the victims. Jacob Wells, who I believe he's a co-founder of Give, Send, Go, he says people are mad about our stance to allow Carmelo Anthony family a campaign on Give, Send, Go, and I get it. It's a horrible situation. There are even calls for a boycott. But because I know a similar scenario will happen again for someone on the right, and our competitor won't allow them a campaign even though it is a legal endeavor, people will be back to using Give, Send, Go because we are the only fundraising platform that truly stands on freedom and principle.
I want to meet that guy.
Yes.
That CEO. That sounds very cool.
So Gunther Engelman says it's sickening. The money should go to the victim's family. And some people are defending him, while others are saying...
I 100% agree with this. Like, they shouldn't... Like, Give, Send, Go is literally the people that are not ideologically attached to any side, which is good. Like, this guy, like, all the evidence isn't even out here. Like, he hasn't been convicted on anything. And everyone's like, oh, we can't even, like, raise money for this guy because we think that his self-defense case is garbage, even though it hasn't even gone through the courts yet. Like... Okay, like, you can have your opinion, but, like, that doesn't mean that this guy isn't allowed to, like, generate money because he believes that he has a self-defense case. Like, yeah, I agree with that. That's my thought on that.
They ban groups that support physical violence of any kind. Okay, so I've read this story, and I've covered it. And I am actually shocked to find that so many conservatives are demanding the money be rescinded. I don't get it.
No, they're not raising money for violence. He's raising money for defense.
No, I get it. And conservatives are being just emotional, not actually thinking through this logically. Like, oh, freedom of speech and freedom of expression and self-defense, we're all about that, but not this time. Not self-defense for this time. Like, or innocent until proven guilty. Like, I guess no one wants that anymore either. We're just gonna have our opinions and say that he's guilty automatically. Like, come on now.
For legal defense.
Yeah, legal defense is different.
The official story, as per witnesses in the police report, there was I think they have a photo of the tent actually in this article. We use that because that matters. Here's it's Kai Kindle Stadium in Frisco, Texas. Here's a tent. You can see it's cordoned off. So apparently there was an argument between Carmelo Anthony, who was from a rival school, who was there, and there were a bunch of kids from this town or whatever, and they got into an altercation. They told him he wasn't supposed to be there. Apparently they had words. Carmelo Anthony pulled a knife out from his bag and said, "Touch me and see what happens." Witnesses said either he was touched or grabbed. They were different accounts, but that Austin Metcalf did put hands on Carmelo, who then stabbed him once in the chest before running away. According to police, Carmelo Anthony, when he got apprehended or turned himself in, however the story goes, I mean, different accounts, he asked if Austin was going to be okay and said it was self-defense. He said he grabbed me and I said self-defense. The family is arguing it was self-defense. It's strange to me that with this story, the right is adamant that this kid just killed another kid and he should go to prison forever. And I'm like, we don't even know what happened. Like, you've got witness testimony that sounds like a fight happened at a school. Then I've heard the argument, yeah, well, he shouldn't have had a knife. He brought a knife to a school.
Worse,
and it's like, okay, what kind of knife
My
was it?
problem is, Rittenhouse killed 3 people, but he was running away. This guy didn't run. That's my problem with it being self-defense. Was he cornered?
He did run away after he stabbed the guy. So instead of actually, like, that's why I say that this guy is very impulsive. Like, he stabbed him once and then immediately ran away. He didn't check to see if he actually was, like, trying to, like, delete this person. He literally just, he said, "Don't approach me," and then he approaches them. And then he gets pushed or either he gets pushed, grabbed, or he was physically touched in any type of way. We're not sure how or what degree, but, like, he was touched before he used the knife, and then he immediately ran away. That's why I say it's self-defense. If he was intending on deleting someone, he would not just hit them once. He would he would hit them once, make sure that they're dead, and then run away, and then not talk to the cops. Like, all of the aftermath of, like, him immediately running away, him going to the cops, and then him asking the cops specifically if what he did was self-defense or not. Like, if he knew what he did wasn't self-defense, he would not ask to cops of, like, is this self-defense or not? Like, that's why I think he has a good case.
He threw the knife away.
Yeah, he threw the knife away because he realized that it was all bloody and stuff, and he's like, nah, I don't like this. He didn't want to, like, he felt guilty about that. He also asked if that guy was okay. He didn't know if the person that he literally just, like, stabbed is okay or not. This is after the fact. He's very impulsive, and it's terrible, and he's not innocent. Like, he should get the manslaughter thing automatically. But, like, people calling him a murderer, that's a step too far for me. That's the thing that I don't like, the over-exaggeration. Like, he's not someone that went there to deliberately delete someone. He shouldn't have put himself in that situation, but, like, the people shouldn't have grabbed him. And self-defense doesn't care whether you're, like, self-defense doesn't matter.
The courts will decide. Fair enough.
Yeah, the courts will decide on that.
Was it a utility knife? Was it a switchblade? Was it a machete? Like, did he have a steak knife? Was he coming back from culinary class where he had fine Japanese blades for cutting cucumbers? I have no idea.
Yeah. Yep. We have no idea. Wait, when was this? This was April 9th. This was 7 days ago, a full week. So, like, at this point, Tim's point is 100% correct. We have no idea, so we shouldn't be jumping the gun.
You're allowed to carry knives I'm pretty sure in Texas, especially if it's like a utility blade. You're also not allowed to grab people. So the crazy thing about this story is that people are demanding give, send, go, take down a fundraiser. I'm like, what is this? GoFundMe? No. But I also want to say to Jacob Wells, why is he acting like I can't do it because someone on the right will have? No. If I was CEO, I'd come out and be like, I don't care what you think. Bye. Boycott me. Go away. It's a legal matter. It's going to go to the courts. A jury's going to figure it out, and people can raise money for legal defense. Thank you. Bye.
I think what Jacob Wells...
Yes, that's where the analysis should just end. I guess people can have their opinions, but like, yes, I 100% agree with that.
Is noble, and that it's important that we have a neutral fundraising platform for crowdfunding. And if GiveSend Go's going to lead the charge on that, I'm happy to support them.
Yeah, I think it's sad how, like, this story, is really just getting people to the point of this racial thing that the father was trying to stop. Like, people are angry because the father came out and says, he's trying to forgive the kid who killed his son. And I did a video, where I was pretty much appreciating the father doing that, because as a Christian, it's like forgiveness is something you're supposed to be doing, right? The Lord, when he was on the cross, says, forgive them, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So I just think it's sad, man. These are two young people. One's probably going to go to prison. I don't know. Like you said, we'll see, let the courts play it out. The other one is no longer here.
He should definitely get the manslaughter charge, because manslaughter doesn't care about the intent. Manslaughter is like, did you delete this person or did you not? And obviously he was the one that stabbed him. So like, yes, he should get the manslaughter charge 100%. That doesn't mean he's a murderer, or a murderer murder is intending on deleting that person, not just accidentally deleting someone. And I know people's going to have like issues with me saying the word accidentally, but delete me in the comments, I guess.
And it's sad. You have this.
I'm not a Christian, so I don't forgive. Winky face.
True based. Yeah. I mean, I don't really I understand their point, but like, yeah.
Father who's trying to bring people together and tell people, it wasn't racially motivated, right? But you have two sides who are just, it's nasty, man. It's gotten nasty. Like,
so people are saying that Texas schools ban weapons. Okay. I'm just saying, like, why are people acting like this is a case where a dude showed up to murder somebody? It's like,
yeah, exactly. Why are people just assuming that? That's the thing that bothers me. We shouldn't be assuming that. It's stupid. Like, what happened to and it's hypocritical because people on the right is like, oh, innocent until proven guilty. Come on now, guys. Like the white cop that deleted the black guy, innocent until proven guilty. Come on now. But like in this case scenario, it's like, actually, we don't like this. Black guy deleted a white guy. Innocent proven guilty.
Worse, Nary.
We don't need that
Is
right now.
the racial divide bad there? I mean, I've heard, but
on the internet, it seems to be, but like in real life, there's like very little experience. Like the racial divide is like, it lives on the internet, and like you only see it on like college campuses in real life. That's it. And like talking to people in real life, and even at like certain jobs, like it's just like that. It doesn't exist. People may feel that way, but they know that it's just kind of, it's like a scapegoat. Like people that use the racial divide for like an excuse, like that's when like whenever you see someone do that in real life, they're digging at the bottom of the barrel to have some sort of excuse for why, to justify their actions in any type of way or shape or form, or trying to win some sort of argument to get something out of it. Like it's not that bad in real life, but like on the internet, it's wild. It's wild.
Dude shouldn't have had a weapon, so he's gonna get some kind of like manslaughter charge or something like that. And then
Where's
the fight broke
Nary?
out. It shouldn't have happened.
Phew, I'm glad to hear that. I think we get an odd view of other there.
Yeah, like on college, like if you want to know if the like college campuses and the internet are very closely related to like how it looks. But like once you leave a college campus, you just go to like a different job in a different place. It doesn't really exist. It just doesn't. Unless you're trying to see it. Like some people, like family members, they have this view of the world where they specific person I'm talking about, but like they have a view where like we'll both look at a situation and they will think that it's like, oh, this was kind of racially motivated, and I'm gonna sit there and be like, well, I mean, this guy could have just had a bad day.
Worse, Nary.
Like,
I see clips of The View and I'm a devil according to them.
Of The View. Yeah, The View is stupid. Like The View is stupid if you're talking about the oh no, yeah. The View with all those women just talking about random stuff is stupid. It's just stupid.
I gotta be honest. I get it. It's a bad story. I don't know why people are losing their minds over it.
Yeah.
Well, the racial component.
Yeah.
People,
I guess
people want to jump in and take sides, and they want to, if they've got a preconceived notion about another group of people, they're just like, oh, well, that's how.
I mean, like certain stories become memes in of themselves.
Oh yeah.
You hear the hissing that they have in the mic. I don't know if you can hear it fully, but like maybe the game volume might be drowning it out. But the hissing that they have on this is it's because their cord, their XLR cord. Can I show you guys that? Oh, this right here. This it's running past a like a charger or like you know the big bulky things that you plug into the wall. It's going over something like that. I think it's an AC to DC converter basically. Because all power coming through, well, at least in the US, is all AC coming into the houses. So, but every component, it's weird because like every component that you use, except for really large scale industrial motors, uses DC power. So everything has a DC, everything that you plug into the wall, even your phone, if you plug it into the wall, that brick, it's an AC to DC converter. And it's so weird how we kind of we use AC to alternating current, AC, DC, direct current, we use DC to make things work, but then we use AC to like travel on the power lines because it's more efficient, which makes sense. I mean, it makes sense, but like it's because of this cord running over that AC to DC thing that makes that hissing sound in this guy's mic. It is just, I mean, it's a minute thing. I think it's kind of cool.
110 volts. We're 240 volts.
Yeah. Different voltages, but I think I think everyone uses AC to transmit power. There really isn't a DC transmitted. There might be one DC line from one plant somewhere in the planet, but like you can't DC. You lose so much energy running DC through the line, direct current through a line, versus just running AC at like massive voltages. Like the loss of energy is really bad. You don't want to be close to a DC line because you could easily arc something to the ground and get deleted instantaneously.
Our plugs are AC safer.
Lower voltages typically means that it's safer, but like it depends on the current. Like really the current, like you could have a, depending on, like you could have a battery, and that battery, depending on how you like get zapped, you could die from it. But you can also have millions of volts on you and like a minute amount of current, and you'll survive that easily. Except like you know the globes, the electric globes. When I know we're completely off topic, but like
our current is AC.
Yeah. Your power is AC. I did like electrical engineering, so I know all this nonsense, but like
mercenary. So it chucks you off.
I guess.
And let me clarify what I'm saying. It's that every single day I see like 12 stories like this.
I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna pause the AC/DC talk and just go back to the video.
So when the story popped up, I was like,
I find it interesting though, but like we don't have to keep going into that unless you want to.
Like the meme, like why is this the
His
story?
name's Carmelo Anthony, probably.
Yeah, maybe because of viral search trends.
Mercenary.
I mean,
sorry, derailed.
I derailed myself.
Bro, Baltimore and DC are right here, dude. You want to Google such a story about a white kid who got stabbed to death by a black guy? You can.
I'll tell you. Hey,
go to Chicago. It happens every day.
Military tactic for our adversaries. You use artificial intelligence or just farms of dudes to repost and racially inflame in the comments and make it look like it's a bigger deal than it is, to displace our consciousness here in the United States, to make us hate each other. Like, so we got to be real careful that we're attuned to that.
Right, and that's something that I definitely see happening. A big part of my platform. I don't know if you guys know, but I went, actually the first time or the second time I went viral with this video blew up was when I did a video with my daughter on critical race theory, right? And the things that were taking place in the schools and how young white kids were being told that they're inherently racist. They were born racist. And young black kids were being told that, no matter what they do in America, people are always going to, do this to them and not allow them to prosper because of their skin color, right? And one of my things has been, just trying to break that down, man, and break those barriers and show people that race is not as big as we make it. Democrats have kept racism alive in America. It was on life support. And now I feel like when things like this happen or stories like this happen, it seems like a lot of people on the right are now trying to bring race to the forefront. And it's like, dude, listen, we can talk about, what's going on in each race and all that. We can do that. But why can't we do it civilly? Why do we have to, get on these platforms and just hate each other,
I figured I'm reading the chats. I understand what everyone's saying that I didn't understand about the story. When laws are passed banning weapons from zones like a weapon-free zone, you're not allowed to bring them there. And if a fight breaks out, you can't use them. That's why he's going to jail.
Okay.
So.
Sorry, I was muted. That makes sense. That makes sense. That's why I said that that's what probably might end up happening.
Like, weapon-free zones. You don't bring weapons there.
Yeah.
Like self-defense is not going to apply to a weapon-free zone. If you bring a weapon to a place where they tell you can't have weapons, your self-defense argument's not going to apply.
Yeah, and in Texas they have two different. There are two different signs. Like they can have a sign that says you.
Interesting how AJ didn't pull up that clip, but like, oh, we're just going to talk about his analogy and then hyper focus on his analogy and then say how his analogy is dumb.
You're not allowed to conceal, and they have signs that say you're not allowed to open carry. And if they post either of them, you're required to abide by what the store or the property owner says.
Okay. Right. So regardless of what the circumstances around like the guy's character, because people are saying like he skipped school, he wasn't supposed to be there. Right. But that's not going to play out in a court.
Yeah, he's just a
If you go into an area where they've banned weapons and you bring a weapon, you have no self-defense argument if someone puts their hands on you. Okay?
Yes, true.
You can't do that.
What you were saying, Corey,
if you're in a school and someone grabs you and you're armed, you have no Second Amendment rights. It's null. You're not going to be able to argue that.
Interesting how Matt Walsh and AJ didn't put this part. Like, this is a perfectly, like, this is a good clip. This is perfect. This is good. Like, but everyone keeps criticizing him on the other analogies. Like, okay, he had a bad take. I mean, all right, fine. But like, obviously this entire clip, that they're talking about, like, it's pretty based. It's pretty neutral. He's not like one-sided on this that people are trying to make him out to be, which is false.
The law is the law. You can't defend yourself.
Yep.
Well, you just can't use a weapon.
Okay, legally. Right.
Right. And so what it is he brought a weapon into a no weapons allowed area, and then when the guy put his hands on him, whether it was touching or grabbing, he's not no claim of self-defense.
Interesting.
So,
I was in kind of to wrap up what you're saying about racism. Like, I think I'm with you. I think it's interesting to talk about the differences of just our ancient history, like our ancestors' genetics, and like that's the literal differentiations between our physiologies is cool. And to have that normal conversation and just be like, oh, awareness, I love that. And if we could like do that rationally as a culture, because then like the other stuff is like, yeah, everyone's different. We're all very similar. We're all different. There it is. Like, we all have eyeballs.
I think people were basically, a few people, not a lot of people, but when I posted this story, I had a few people in the comments who were saying I was only defending the father's actions because the killer was black. And he would make black people, this makes black people look bad. It makes us look bad. He said it makes you guys look bad. And I'm like, who's you guys? Like, your people. And I'm like, who's my people? My people are Christians.
I love that, yeah.
It's not a skin color, none of that. All that's irrelevant. I have brothers who are Asian. I have brothers who are white. I have brothers who are black.
Yeah, that's true. Like, it's the same way that I don't like how the left use just race as the underlying factor of every single thing. Like, I don't like it when the right does it too. Like, so.
I have brothers who are Hispanic, right? That's my people.
Well, I just got to say right now, guys in the chat, it's a bit histrionic. I don't know what I don't know. There's no coherent response now because now everyone's angry saying that's not true. You have a right to defend yourself no matter what. Well, no. He went to a school with a weapon. You can't bring weapons to schools in any capacity. That's why this is not a case of self-defense. But now people are arguing saying it's wrong. It's a stand your ground state. And even if you're at a school, you have a right to defend yourself. Some people are saying you have no right to use lethal force if someone is shoving you, while others are also claiming you do. So you guys work it out in the chat. I'm gonna say you're all right. You're all right.
You're all right. Everyone's right.
Everybody's correct in this regard.
It's
Schrodinger's self-defense. If the Democrats and Republicans if it's a Democrat or Republican state, regardless, and they pass a bill saying we ban weapons, then you simultaneously do and do not have a claim of self-defense. You simultaneously do and do not have a right to defend yourself using any force necessary to protect yourself from perceived bodily harm. And everyone's just angry about this story. So
yes,
whatever the issue is, you're all correct.
Anger is normal.
Everyone's right.
Yes. Confusion leads to madness, which can lead to anger. Get used to it. Or just understand why you're confused.
There's that famous story in Texas, I think it was Texas, where they banned, there was some kind of handgun ban. I can't remember, maybe it was Texas. But I was in Chicago, and there was a gun rights rally, and some woman was speaking. I think it was at like the Daily Center. And her story was, and you guys in the chat probably know what the story is. She had her handgun in her car, and she went into the restaurant, and normally she could bring it in with her, but they passed a law saying she couldn't. And then someone started shooting, and she had no access to her weapon because it was in her vehicle, so she couldn't defend herself. And it's like a very famous gun rights activist woman who tells this story all the time. And this is the argument people have for the Second Amendment doesn't stop because someone declares they can put up a sign saying, we don't allow weapons in this place. So I do think there is an issue of, it depends on what the knife was. It's not so much whether he had a knife or didn't. Unless if it's a knife ban zone, then the state's going to do what they want. They're going to say we ban weapons. There's no self-defense claim here. But usually what would happen is if he had an illegal knife, like something actually designed for combat or a weapon, and threatened him with it, then you're not getting off.
As opposed to like a butter knife from the cafeteria.
Well, not a butter knife, but like a utility knife.
Could have done it with a butter knife.
All right, actually, I'm gonna send this clip to my friend. All right, we're gonna copy current time, and we're gonna throw it somewhere. I'll just throw it here just so I can remember it. But I want to wait. How far do we keep going? This is a what's this?
It was.
Oh, okay. So this is the next clip. All right. So 1 hour 12. Boom. Copy current time. And we'll paste this there. And we'll go back to this.
Knife, if you do it right. I mean, it would have been harder, but if he did it with like a legal knife that was on the property and he pulled out a knife that he's allowed to have, what?
Legal is an issue here because certain knives may be illegal, but they're intended for inflicting bodily harm on somebody. Like, if you have a utility knife, like a Leatherman or something, that's not intended to hurt somebody.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, if he had, it depends on the specific knife that he has. If he, like that will show intent. If he has a specific knife that looks like a type of knife that would only be used for, like deleting people, then that would be an argument against, that would be an argument for him intending on trying to delete someone, which could get him the murder, conviction, I guess, or the like something higher than manslaughter, basically. But like that's why if no one knows the type of knife he had, like if he had a cooking knife, that completely changed the intent of the entire thing. Like the guy had a cooking knife because he has cooking class. Like we have no idea. Like that's the thing that I don't like, that we're just jumping the gun, even though we have no idea what's going on.
Being a Brit carrying a knife on you, we think you are looking to stab.
Yeah, but America, we're wild. We're a wild country. We love our weapons, so we have more leeway. In Britain, it would be weird, but like America, everyone has a weapon. We have we're so crazy on our Second Amendment and stuff like that, so it makes it's much more normalized over here, which is kind of like how you can kind of like in Britain you wouldn't be able to get away with that excuse. There would be there would be less justification for it in Britain, but there's more of a justification here because of the way that we live, you know.
You have a switchblade, they're going to say you had a weapon
with
the intent to commit harm.
Don't get me wrong, I have lots of knives, but
yeah.
Also, if you have a dull blade, but you use it,
don't carry.
Yeah.
You've turned it into a weapon, like a shovel. You might just have a shovel, but if you go to hit somebody or you get somebody with it, you've created, that's a lethal weapon, you know? You gotta be...
So the chat is split between they want to unsubscribe because they want me to be angrier, and also I'm wrong and should advocate for the right to defend yourself by any means necessary, stand your ground, even if it's a knife or a firearm.
I gotta say, talk about an eclectic chat of superhumans.
Wow, look at that. Freaking Tim has a very split chat on this. Almost like Tim has a very diverse audience of people feeling a certain way, and he's not like politically locked into any type of ideology. Like this is like Destiny would always make the argument like, oh, Tim is just completely ideologically captured because of his oh yeah, do you like my fully off base, do you like my new, I got a white one now, a white Elgato stand, and it's perfectly metal. It was $150 something. This won't break. If this does break, I'm gonna be really pissed off. This is like my 4th or 5th mic stand since I started. So like fourth. No, we had 1, we had 2, 3. This is the 4th. This is the 4th one. No. Yes. No, this is the 5th one. This is the 5th mic stand. I derailed myself, but like, yeah. Anyways, if this thing breaks, I'm gonna be really pissed off because this is the most expensive stand that I ever actually bought. All the other ones were underneath $100. But yeah. Wait, hold up. Let me go back. Let me go back because I had a good point.
Oh, fancy. Looks great. 5th. What you doing to them?
I don't know why they break. I think it's because they were cheap. But this one, I've analyzed where like the last one broke at this point, and it seems like this is like the point of like of place where they might break the most. This one's actually metal. The one that I had before was all plastic. This was a metal thing before. It was like a metal on plastic and then metal everywhere else. This hinge point is actually metal because it broke here the last time with plastic, and then sometimes it might break at the hinge point where you can't see on camera. But this one, everything is constructed metal, and there's plastic in certain parts to give it more because metal on metal grinding isn't like it's very difficult to tighten and make things stay in place. So they have to put like plastic rub points where things can like have more friction, so it doesn't like flop around or move as you touch it. So, but they did this perfectly. They put metal in the part where they need to have metal, and then they put plastic in parts where they need to have plastic. And some places they just use plastic all the way, but then after a while it might break. And then some places they use all metal, and then it doesn't stay where you want it to like stay. So this is perfect. This is perfect. I like it. It's great. And I was like, you know what? I've been having a lot of black things, and I wanted something different, so I got a white one. So yeah.
You go to hit somebody or you get somebody with it. You've created that's a lethal weapon. You know. You gotta be...
So the chat is split between they want to unsubscribe.
Oh, okay. So I had that. The point is that Tim Pool, Destiny would make the argument that Tim Pool has like he's ideologically captured. But like his chat literally is completely split on this one point, which means he has a very diverse audience, which I would argue that shows that Tim Pool isn't ideologically captured in any type of way. He's obviously a centrist, so centrists are like 50-50 usually. And look at that. He like, what do you know? Like his chat is 50-50 split on this basically.
Because they want me to be angrier, and also I'm wrong and should advocate for the right to defend yourself by any means necessary. Stand your ground, even if it's a knife or a firearm.
I gotta say, talk about an eclectic chat of superhumans.
And Destiny hates calling Tim Pool a centrist because he thinks he's completely captured on one side, but like this is obviously evidence to the contrary.
My main point about this story, they don't understand that people are angry, saying that this guy, for one, shouldn't have a legal.
Oh my God, what did I do?
Defense, and I'm like, I don't care if he does. Like, they tried taking away Kyle Rittenhouse legal defense. Give, Send, Go is going to allow anybody to raise money. Okay,
Where's Neri?
50%
racist.
Do you have a right
NRA.
to use weapons?
This was a joke. Winky face.
50% racist, 50% NRA. You know, I mean, if there's more, you could be like 25, 25, 25, 20, 25. But like, yeah.
And to defend yourself, yes or no? And yes in this case, no in this case. I got no idea what these people are advocating for.
Yeah, like if you picked up a cafeteria tray, is that legal? Like,
well, I mean, it was on school property, so the school likely had a no weapons policy. I don't know, and I don't know what this actually turns into legally. I'm just talking about like the general rules that you see in places like this. He had, the school probably had a no weapons policy. Most schools do. So if it is a situation of if you have a weapon in a place where you're not supposed to have weapons, therefore you can get charged with something that normally wouldn't be a charge. It's possible, but again, I don't know the legality in Texas. I don't know what the specific rules are when it comes to where they were or what. So
yeah, because you could see that just having the weapon means that there's intent. Just
I think
the weapon.
I think the bigger picture is my confusion on this is why it became such the biggest story. It was on Fox News. They ran the story several times, and I was just like, yeah, it's a tragedy. I mean, I wish it didn't happen. This is terrible. I think that the dude's going to get probably some kind of manslaughter. Or something like that. I doubt he'll get premeditated or passion murder. But you want to Google it? You'll find 12 stories right now that are identical in a bunch of different places. That's why I'm like, why is everybody so hot over this? Like, they're going after the founder.
Carmelo Anthony went number 3 overall, baby.
Did he really?
Yeah, he was good. He was really good. Carmelo Anthony.
To see the co-founder of Give, Send, Go have to come out and defend his platform because they're calling for a boycott of Give, Send, Go. I'm like, even if this is like a cut and dry, the kids get locked up. Why are people saying don't allow him a fundraiser for legal defense?
I put those people on blast. I think I want to hear from them. Like if you're gonna call for this guy to shut down somebody's free speech and opportunity to work within the commons to provide for legal defense, you need to back up why you think that, because that's antithetical to the United States Constitution.
True. Yes. Thank you, Ian. Yes.
Story, man. Rest in peace to Austin Metcalf. I'm glad that his father came out and said what he said, you know, trying to bring unity to the country and not further divide us. Like in that moment.
Yeah, I actually, it hurts to hear the father of the victim's father coming out and forgiving that guy. It really kind of hurts to see it, but like it's very admirable for him to do that. It's a really good thing that he did that, because it's very difficult for any parent to forgive the guy that deleted the other person. And maybe there's some insight in the father and how his son behaves, and he probably knew that his son was probably someone that wait, why do I have it? Oh, there we go. Yeah. But this is just, I'm not gonna psychoanalyze this, but it's hard to hear that, but like it's very it's kind of, it's good that the father is doing this for the greater good, even though like if the father was like outraged at this, I wouldn't blame him at all. But yeah,
moment he could have said something entirely different than what he said.
Yep.
Right, and he could have pushed the racial thing and the racial that this was racially motivated.
I could never forgive .sol.
Yeah. Yeah, like I wouldn't blame you for not doing that, especially if you're like the father of the kid.
No, but he didn't. You know.
Yeah, we have one super chat. Reality's Heart says possessing a weapon on school grounds in Texas is a separate third-degree felony.
Ah.
Yeah, you have no right to bear weapons of any kind at schools. They've made it illegal.
Yeah.
You know, and the Second Amendment is up for a vote, and we voted that you have no right to bear arms of any kind, whatever they may be. If we vote, you have no right to do it. So the Second Amendment doesn't exist.
Man, it's such a. It's like a moral argument, because I don't want kids getting into fisticuffs and one of them pulling out a weapon.
Right.
If I can somehow legislate or come in as like an overlord or like a principal and say, hey, no weapons, just so you got no weapons. You can fight. Don't fight, but don't fight. Yeah, don't fight. But
you shouldn't really say that you can fight.
I'm not telling them to.
Against the rules.
It is, but at least no one's going to get killed.
Right.
Hopefully.
Well, I mean,
you get punched once and then you can die.
Yeah, it's less likely.
Yeah, I've seen a guy body slam a kid, and you can definitely.
Yeah,
that's not good.
Exactly. You pick someone up and you throw them on the ground. They hit their head, and they may never get up.
But a weapon.
But I'm on board.
Oh, good.
Y'all have convinced me. I am on board. No more Second Amendment. Just, we voted it out. We say you're not allowed to have weapons, and I'm not saying specifically to this case with this kid, but y'all are, the people that are saying he shouldn't have had a weapon, it's a weapon-free zone, correct. From now on, no one's allowed to have guns. If we vote, you can't have.
Are kids allowed to have weapons?
True. Yes. What? Yeah, exactly. Do we have self-defense or do we not? Tim is kind of trolling with that point. Like, he's like, if you guys don't want self-defense anymore, all right, then we'll take that out of the Constitution. Yeah, true. Like, which one do you guys want? Do you want self-defense, or do you want to have the right to vote out self-defense? You can't have both, because that's literally a contradiction, and you legally, like, how could you make a law where both things happen simultaneously? Because then people are going to argue, oh, it's not fair because you use this part of the law instead of actually using this other part of the law. Like, that's a bit oh. Yeah.
Guns? Second Amendment says they can. Go back 200 years, and parents, you know, a dad would give his 13-year-old son the rifle to go out. They had guns in kitchens. So if you go to, I think Stonewall Jackson's house is like 15 minutes from here, and you can do a tour of the house, and they have a musket on the wall in the kitchen. And when they're giving the tour, they explain what they would do for dinner is they would open the back door, grab the musket, load it up, and stand there and wait. And then they would blast a critter, walk over, grab it, and throw it in the stew. I was like, what? No, yeah. They'd stand out there and wait for a groundhog or something. Bam! And then they'd pick it up, pull out the round, and then gut it and throw the meat into the stew.
You know, I'm a big
backyard varmint.
I'm a big fan of the North, the Union, but Stonewall Jackson was the man. I don't know much about his personal life, but he was a great general. Or I guess he was second in command. Was he a general? He was General Lee's like number 2 guy. When Stonewall Jackson got killed by his own men, coming back from like a sortie, he was going in to spy. He came back, they couldn't tell who he was, and they shot him. They accidentally killed him. That was the South lost the war after that. He was like the guy. He was the driving nail of that army. Damn. Yeah, I gotta go see his house. Sounds epic.
Let's jump to this next story. A story that matters, I don't know, a lot, a little. What do you think?
Oh, okay. Well, that was basically it. Let's go back to This is the video that I wanted to watch when I started this entire stream, but there was a lot of controversy with Tim. But let's finish the actual Justice Warriors video. So now that we have the full context of what's actually going on,
do what Carmelo Anthony did and that be ruled self-defense. That is not how it works. If you are asked to leave somewhere and you say, touch me and see what happens, somebody comes up, you have provoked a physical altercation on the scale of a fist fight, hand-to-hand combat. Now, some people are going to write stupidly in the comments, but Sean, you could die from a physical altercation. You could die from a punch being thrown, but that does not make that punch deadly force, a la the Daniel Penny case, where he was using physical force to restrain him. If somebody dies as a complication of that,
someone pushed a guy and he fell and then he hit his head on like the curb of a sidewalk and instantly died. Yes, that can happen. Bro, what are you saying? Oh, it's unreasonable. It's perfectly reasonable, and it's happened in real life multiple times. It's very rare, but it has happened, and it can happen just from a simple push. Like, the guy that pushed him obviously wasn't trying to delete someone, but like, should we, since he ended up dying anyways, should we just give him murder? Like, he's a murderer now? Like, automatically? Like, come on, man.
That does not automatically retroactively make that physical force deadly force, much in the same way that if Carmelo Anthony would have stabbed Austin Metcalf not in the heart, somewhere where he would have survived, that would have still been deadly force. Or if he...
Yeah, you're assuming that he intentionally wanted to stab him in the heart, which you have not proven that he was trying to stab him in the heart. He obviously just stabbed him anywhere that his knife went towards his body. Like, he wasn't aiming for anything specific. You have to give you have to give evidence that he was aiming for it, not just automatically just assume that he was aiming for the heart. Like, we're not like, where is that evidence that he was trying to do that? Like, he ran away instantaneously. Someone that was aiming for anything wouldn't run away instantaneously. They would aim, and then they would look to see if they actually make sure that he was there, like where he got him, like he falls over and like keels over, and then run away. Like, this guy, this Carmelo guy isn't some like biology expert that knows where everything is in the body. Like, we're talking about kids in a high school. Like, we're treating, like, it's weird how we're treating this way.
He waved the knife
and
around.
Jumping to conclusions automatically.
And then Austin Metcalf will restrain him. If somebody dies as a complication of that, that does not automatically retroactively make that physical force deadly force.
Yes, thank you. At least he understands that.
Much in the same way that if Carmelo Anthony would have stabbed Austin Metcalf not in the heart, somewhere where he would have survived, that would have still been deadly force. Or if he waved the knife around and then Austin Metcalf used deadly force to defend him, just because Carmelo Anthony didn't connect with the blade doesn't mean he didn't present a deadly force threat. This should be obvious and easy to understand, but for some reason people are confused about this. Anyway, so this would have been maximum a physical fight.
Wait, what? What are you talking about? If you were to wave it around after they tried to touch him, yes, that would be self-defense. Like, what? What he said before didn't even make sense.
No reasonable person in that situation would expect anybody to die as a consequence of the single one-on-one hand-to-hand combat or pushing, which is actually what happened in that particular case. If you take the maximum...
Nah, some people would think that because of the guy that died when he got pushed and hit the ground. Like, it was just physical contact, but he just got pushed, but he still ended up dying. So, like, some people would, because that did happen in real life, but let's just pretend that didn't exist.
View of what any of the witnesses have said, not the fake witnesses or the fake Facebook posts. That is a physical fight. That is not something you can escalate to deadly force in any state in the union. So no, you do not have the right to respond to that with deadly force. We all understand that Carmelo Anthony in no way, shape, or form was in fear of his life. You don't say, touch me and see what happens if you're in fear of your life. And he had the weapon concealed, so it was hidden.
Yeah, but after he gets touched, after saying that...
I watched this video. The bit at the start shocked me about OJ.
Yeah.
So Austin Metcalf didn't even have the opportunity to assess a potential deadly threat and decide whether or not he wanted to engage in that battle. Because again, unlike the Kyle Rittenhouse case where the guy's carrying the gun on him and then he's being chased by somebody trying to get the gun, which graduates that to a deadly force situation, this was not present here. Nobody saw the knife.
No, the thing that graduates this to a deadly, to a self-defense is the guy, like, not before he said, touch me and see what happens, but after the guy ends up touching him, and then that's what gradually went. That's the graduation. Like, just like in Kyle Rittenhouse place where people were literally trying to run and attack him. He had the weapon out. The instant that guy tried to grab him, after the fact that he said that after the threat, like if someone tells you, not like Tim Pool's analogy was just perfect. I don't know why I keep repeating myself.
Until Carmelo Anthony plunged it in the heart of Austin.
Like I don't like how this guy's pretending like that's not what actually happened here. It's kind of annoying.
Metcalf, again, over a petty dispute, and then decided to throw the knife away and make a run for it. Again, these are...
No, that's wrong. Wait, what? That's a lie. That's a lie. He didn't throw away the knife and made a run for it. He threw away the knife and went to the cops and said, wait, is this self-defense? Like, what? He went to the cops. He didn't run away. The cops didn't have to try and find this guy. That did not happen at all. That is 100% a lie right there. What? What? AJ, come on now. You can't be doing that.
Obviously the actions of a murderer. This is a premeditated murder. There's a lot of people saying, oh, it's actually manslaughter. No, it's not. When you pull out the knife, you establish premeditation. Premeditation can be established in an instant. Let's be clear about that. And that's exactly what went down in this particular case.
And self-defense can be like initiated in an instant. The moment the guy touched him is the moment that you can, whatever happens next is self-defense. You can argue that. The moment he gets touched is the moment he could use self-defense. Like, that's just a fact. And you may not like that, but like, that's what self-defense is.
According to the evidence that we have right now, though, there's some reporting that there is video footage, possibly cell phone footage, possibly surveillance footage, and there could be potentially things in that footage that would change my opinion on this, because I'm always open to new evidence, but as of right now, there appears to be nothing, and I mean zero things at all whatsoever, that could have a reasonable person in Carmelo Anthony's place assume that Austin Metcalf, again, at a track meet, was a deadly threat against him. So yeah, Tim is just dead wrong with an absolutely horrible take. Anybody who actually reads the police report will know that.
I mean, you twisting the way that Tim is saying it and phrasing things in different ways and literally lying about the fact that he just took off and ran away. Yeah, I mean, yes, you saying all that, I can understand why you think Tim is dead wrong here. But obviously, you did a lot of mental gymnastics and manipulation in order to make Tim look a bit worse than he actually is by obviously manipulating what he was saying. Like, you played the clip, which is good, but then you automatically... then you put words into Tim's mouth afterwards and then say that what you said Tim said is wrong when Tim didn't say those things. You're just assuming that he said these things. But yeah, well, I mean, well, let's just continue. I already explained myself multiple times when that happened.
No witnesses back up the account of both brothers attacking Carmelo Anthony, because guess what? That did not happen. No witnesses back up the account of them smashing his phone and his bag and sucker punching him and all that nonsense, because
yeah, there was a lot of, yes, true. I think he's correct here. Like, because like there's a lot of misinformation on the other side, which muddies the water and makes everything look worse. So like, yeah, people shouldn't be doing that.
What that did not happen. What appears to happen is what every witness has said, which is Carmelo Anthony was sitting somewhere where he wasn't supposed to be. He was asked to move. He got aggressive. He provoked it. He pulled out a knife. He said, touch me and see what happens. Austin Metcalf ends up approaching him, and then he stabs him in the heart in response to a physical contact. In no way, shape, or form, in any state in the union, is that any kind of deadly force situation that you are allowed to defend yourself against with deadly force. Clear as day. Now, a lot of people are also pointing out and highlighting that the Anthony family has decided to either rent or look at buying a new property in order to avoid the scrutiny and the evil white racism that is supposedly surrounding their son and their family, and to the GoFundMe, or actually the Give Send Go donors who gave money to a murderer because they were happy that he murdered a white.
Actually, that might vary. I don't think it's white racism, like characterizing it as stupid, but they're definitely in danger now because there's a lot of white people that are really pissed off at this because they feel like it's a racially motivated thing on the other side. So obviously they're going to use this they're going to use that emotion to justify maybe doing some really like harassing these people, which that's why they probably should move, because these people are going to end up attacking them. I would disagree that they're doing it because of, well, I mean, I guess essentially they're doing it on racial lines but they feel like they're racially justified because of the bad racial issue that happened before. Which is, I mean, I condone it, but like, they should move, and that is a valid excuse. I like how he's saying, like, I don't, like, he's correct. It's just that, I don't know how to say it. He's correct, but like, the framing is just, like, framing it as if they're only just, like, the framing of why they're leaving is stupid, but like they should leave because like they like ultimately the consequence is going to be the same whether they're being racist or not. Like people are going to harass them because of this. So yeah, I think that's the way I should say it.
Kid, I'm glad you're getting scammed out of that money. I hope Carmelo Anthony pleads guilty, although I do want him to face the full force of law because it appears that he is guilty, but obviously we will wait for more evidence to come in and we will wait for this.
Nah, he's not guilty. I don't think he appears guilty. To me, like this is like why are you gonna just say that? You know what? We only got like 1 minute left. I'm gonna stop talking now.
Further, but again, the takes on this are ridiculous and absurd. A lot of them are disingenuous. The non-disingenuous ones on Carmelo Anthony's side are baked in ignorance, and a lot of these people are just happy that a black kid killed.
No shit, Sherlock. Yes, Tim, that literally just happened. Baked in ignorance. Obviously, it's baked in ignorance. We just watched Tim's thing. He wasn't saying that one side was right or one side was wrong. He literally in the video said like, all of you guys are right. I don't know what's going on. We're split on this. We have to wait until the evidence is done. But you're sitting here being like, oh, Tim's take is ignorant. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Like, obviously.
Killed a white kid and want him to get away with it because they're pushing a narrative of racial revenge. Now again, I will emphasize that as of right now, in this very moment, there does not appear to be a racial motivation behind Carmelo Anthony's alleged murder of Austin Metcalf. What appears to have happened is that Carmelo Anthony felt disrespected by Metcalf and he lashed out in a way that we've seen happen a multitude of times, and it ended up resulting in the death of Austin Metcalf. But
yes, true. And that's why I think it's self-defense.
of course, the response to this, everything surrounding this, the reason that he has nearly $500,000 in his Give, Send, Go is due to the fact that people like the idea that he killed a white person. It is...
No. Well, okay, actually, maybe, yeah. A good portion of that money does feel that way because I think black people are very deluded in that, but they still believe it. So, like, yeah, I agree. I agree with that point, but, like, wait, what was he gonna say? Because I was gonna say something different.
Austin Metcalf. But of course, the response to this, everything surrounding this, the reason that he has nearly $500,000 in his Give, Send, Go is due to the fact that people like the idea that he killed a white person. It is...
Yeah, I definitely think that a lot of, like, at least 50% of that money is because of that. Or at least, or maybe I'll say 75% of that is for that money. But there's also the 25% of people that can think through this rationally and be like, you know, there is a good self-defense case here, regardless of the race of the person, which is where I feel like I fall into and where Tim falls into as well. So yeah, I don't disagree with him. I disagree with him. I only 25% disagree with what he's saying, but the other 75%, I think he's like, probably is the case. They are kind of deluded. Black people have deluded themselves into thinking that all the time. And there's definitely like a way. Oh, that's a controversial take on my part. I'm gonna get deleted. But like, I don't care to leave me in the comments. But like, if you don't like my use of delusion, then it's a delusion. But I think it's a justified delusion. Yeah, let's just say that. There you go. That's a bit more fair, I guess.
100% racial for all the people that are backing Carmelo Anthony, revenge against white people, and it's absolutely disgusting in every possible way. It's important to not fall into those traps, to not base everything about race, but we also need to call out these bad actors who are trying to weaponize race to help somebody get away with what appears to be, as of right now, again, open to new information in the future, an unambiguous act of murder. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like this video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about Carmelo Anthony being freed with a reduced bail. Till next time.
Wow. Okay. Also, what I forgot to show, because Tim did talk about this later on. There was a super chat, I think. Show transcript. And
Worse nary. I shut up for that bit. Winky face.
Man, it was. I had to try and be quiet too, but like I kept on over speaking. Okay, so 06, and then they start talking about it again at this timestamp.
However, in a general self-defense context, this is why I'm saying the story I find so confusing, where people are saying, I can defend myself if I perceive you as a threat, no matter what, you can't ban my weapons. Smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know.
Oh, super chats. This is super chats. All right.
Become a member over at Rumble Premium. Use promo code TIM10 to get 10 bucks off. The Uncensored Call-In Show will be starting in about 20 minutes. You don't want to miss it. If you'd like to call in, you got to join our Discord server.
I think his chats kind of roast him a little bit.
With the most contentious of questions pertaining to the Austin Metcalf story. Because everybody disagrees with each other on this one. There's a bunch of super chats where people are saying, I can defend myself if I perceive you as a threat, no matter what. You can't ban my weapons. There are people saying you can't defend yourself. You can't use a knife to defend yourself from being pushed. Let's start with a few of these. First, Ready to Rumble says, back in my day, teens used fists, not knives. Indeed. Hal Gailey says, Texas forbids all weapons at school sporting events. Jake says, Texas is a stand-your-ground state. Dude put his hands on him. It's unfortunate the kid died, but FAFO in a stand-your-ground state. David Toronto says, if the roles...
Oh, FAFO. F around and find out. FAFO. F around, or wait, what's FAFO? Oh, yeah, FAFO. Yeah. F around and find out. Yeah, yep.
Rules were reversed, the city would be burning down and no fundraiser would be allowed. Indeed. I Love Broccoli says, you can't stab someone in the heart because they pushed you. Okay, Phil, if someone pushes you, can you use lethal force?
Yeah, you can. If someone initiates contact with you, you don't know where their line is to stop. So it is reasonable to say, look, he attacked me. I didn't know what he was going to do. I was in fear for my life, so I defended myself.
I don't know.
I've been legal long enough to know that. Winky face.
Yep. True.
Specifics.
Oh, yeah, the FAFO thing. Yeah. Okay. Yep. And this part, true.
Nobody knows the exact specifics of this story with Carmelo and Metcalf. Some witnesses said that Austin touched Carmelo. Some say he grabbed him. Whatever. The courts will play it out. If weapons are banned, he's going to go to jail. However, in a general...
Yeah, literally, that's it. Like, that's where the start and stop of the entire conversation goes. Like, if he's not supposed to have that weapon there, then he goes to jail. Like, that's it. Yep. If he was supposed to have that, then it's self-defense. Like, it's clear cut.
It's very alien to an European.
Yeah. Yep. We're wild.
Self-defense context. This is why I'm saying the story I find so confusing. We have always maintained, when it comes to self-defense, it is not the responsibility of the victim of an attack to determine the extent of that lethal force.
Yeah.
If they are being attacked, their perception of how far that force goes is it.
You can't read someone's
exactly.
mind. You can't say, well, he didn't intend this or didn't intend that. Just the fact that someone initiates aggressive contact with you means that you may be in a position to defend where you have to defend yourself. And it's a little, I mean, a knife is a different situation than a gun, but they're both deadly weapons. So
Lord Cpig says, Tim, you did the laziest reading of the story. You are wrong and you are biased. In fact, I read like 6 or 7 different stories on this, as well as the activist accounts and what the right was saying, and I couldn't figure out why this had become a meme and why it was so intense. And I've done a couple of videos on it as well. He says he was in an event he wasn't a participant in, smuggled a blade in over 6 inches long, went to a rival team's tent, and then went for his weapon when confronted. So what's the story? If you go to an event you're not a participant in, do you have no right to defend yourself? Like, okay, Phil, you go to another band's show and you walk backstage. If someone is going to attack you, can you defend yourself?
Yeah. I mean, you're ostensibly, if you're on private property and they don't specifically say...
So it's a park.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, look...
So band's playing a show, you walk up to their trailer,
yeah,
and they say, hey, you can't come in here. Words are exchanged. The guy grabs you. Can you defend yourself?
Where's Neri?
I mean...
Can you stab a bouncer if they push you from entering a club?
That would be different because the bouncer is literally security. Like, security has, like... If you're not supposed to be in that location and security pushes you... Yeah, let me read that again. Can you stab a bouncer if they push you from the... I mean... You could, and there is a way to... There's a mental gymnastics that you could do to actually get self-defense if you end up stabbing that person. But, like... It's going to be obvious that you're just doing a lot of mental gymnastics to, like, just win a case. So there is a weird, wacky
Where's
world
Neri?
where you could
Tim
do
could.
that.
Winky face.
There is a weird, wacky world where you could do that. But, like, most people would be like, bro, he's a bouncer. Like, his job is literally to, like, make sure that there's security. Like, that's the argument on the other side. Like, you obviously knew that this guy is a bouncer and that this guy is going to like physically remove you from the situation. Like, you don't have a reason to think that this bouncer is going to do anything more than push you out of this situation. Like, there wouldn't be a reasonable understanding that more could happen after that push. Like, they push you out because you're not supposed to be there, and their job is literally to make sure that that this place is secure. They're security. Like, you can't I mean, you could argue that, oh, the security guy could like delete me, and there is a weird, wacky world and maybe some weird circumstance that you could make that argument, but like, it's very hard to do that. But to connect it to what happened here, the guy that pushed him was the security guard. So like, it's a little bit more watery or muggy or less clear on whether it's reasonable for this guy to use lethal force or not. Because that guy, like the guy that pushed him or grabbed him, is not like...
I got to get. Sorry about that.
All right. But thanks for stopping by.
In the scenario you're laying out, maybe not because you're going to their area, but if you're in a common area,
you're in a park. There's no trespassing signs.
Well, yeah, but if you went backstage or something like that, that might be.
No, you're at a park and there's a trailer. You walk up to it and say, "Hey, this is our trailer. You can't be here."
Oh, yeah.
This kid was at a school, okay? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like, my point is obviously if you're trespassing and there's a sign saying you cannot enter and you attack somebody, you're going to jail. It's burglary. Like, if you cross a barrier, there's no trespassing, and you're willingly committing a crime to attack somebody. The argument here, this is it's ridiculous. Sorry, dude, your argument's ridiculous. I'm not saying this guy's a good dude or innocent, but being at a school from a rival school, the question of having a weapon is interesting. He smuggled a blade over 6 inches long. Bro, get that biased language out of there. Smuggled a blade 6 inches long. Come on.
Yeah.
In his bag.
I am not going to sit here and say the individual should be stripped of his ability.
Exactly true. Yes. What? That biased language. That's why I'm like, yeah, like we don't even know that information. Well, yeah, we don't even know if he intended on smuggling this thing in the first place. Like, what? Like, it's stupid to think that. Or it's intellectually dishonest to think that.
To carry weapons. Keeping and bearing arms, in my opinion, I find it offensive that they say knives don't count. I think bearing arms, it used to mean swords. It should pertain to all weapons. You have a right to carry weapons wherever you go. I reject the idea that a school can ban your right to carry. Now, by all means, you are free to argue this kid is a murderer who intended to kill, which is what murder is. That's fine. My point is, why are so many people on the right throwing out all the self-defense arguments and personal sovereignty arguments on self-defense and weapons over this story?
Exactly. Like, it's hypocritical. Yes, true.
Just say the kid should go to jail because he broke the law. Okay, if Democrats pass a law saying you can't have weapons, you cannot carry weapons. Pick one. Look, the people in the city said you're not allowed to carry weapons at the school. Therefore, y'all, like these people are saying, that's it. The weapons were banned. Go to jail. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, like that is
weapon-free zones.
That is going to be considered a murder, you know.
That will definitely be a murder.
It might not be first degree. It might be manslaughter.
The first tweet I saw in the story was, imagine if the races were reversed. And that's why I think the story largely went viral.
Yeah.
People on the right are sick and tired of the BLM narrative, and they've rallied around this one because they want it to be their narrative. But I don't play those games. By all means, say the dude.
Yep. Yes, that's true. That is true.
Who did wrong, they should go to jail. That's fine. My point is, as far as it's concerned, I am never going to argue against a scenario where I may be in a circumstance, someone tries to grab me, and then I can't defend myself. So if I'm at a school or something, and I walk up to an area, and they say, hey, dude, you can't be here, it's our area, and we don't know exactly what happened. Everybody wants to claim they did, but I read police accounts, and I read numerous stories on this, and we don't know what exactly was exchanged between the group and the kid. We don't know if Carmelo said, I will end you, or something like that. The argument was that he said, quote, touch me and see what happens. And then the other dude, either, according to someone, just touched him, and other said he grabbed him. And then he stabbed him once and then ran away.
Did Carmelo go in the tent?
It's a gazebo.
Oh, okay. And he wandered underneath he went into the...
Let me show you do we not have the picture pulled up?
Ooh, we're gonna see pictures.
Yeah, it's a pitch tent.
Big pop-up tents, yeah.
So it's a gazebo. It's like, you walk past it.
I don't think the kids in the tent have the right to, like, legal authority to tell us when they can't come in to their... Well, maybe they do. Anyway, that's all I know. I don't know.
I think it's an issue of a high school fight.
No, that is a good point, Ian. That is a good point. You don't know, but, like, that is a good point. Like, they're not security guards. If they were security guards, then there would be more... That would be more evidence to the fact that the guy probably shouldn't have, like, did that. But...
got out of hand, and a dude had a knife.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't have had, and he's going to get in trouble for that. I don't care if like, it's just that people are saying he's a murderer, and I'm like, that means that he went there with the intent to kill?
No,
yes.
It does not sound like murder.
From first degree would be going there with the intent to kill. Second degree would be that upon confrontation, he decided he was going to kill somebody. He told the police, he asked the police officer.
Ooh, so he could get second degree. Because, actually, no. I mean, he could potentially get second degree. But that instantaneously? I don't know. Like, third degree would be manslaughter, I think. Manslaughter, obviously, he would get it. Because manslaughter is like, regardless if he had the intent to delete the person or not, he still deleted the person. So, therefore, it's manslaughter. Like, doesn't care about intent. I think I'm just repeating myself from early in this stream.
Is he all right? Okay, that's the police statement.
It sounds like the most they could get him on would be manslaughter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I see all the people on the right being like, no, he's a murderer, he shouldn't raise money. And I'm like, why are you mad at Give, Send, Go? Like, I'm going to say it right now, guys. The fact that people are calling for a boycott of Give, Send, Go proves that they're wrong on this one.
Hey, man, even if the guy was a murderer, you can still be allowed to raise money for a legal defense.
Yes.
Like, he's not raising money to commit a violent act. So you're allowed. I mean, that's the...
People, look, by all means, be mad that he's raising money. By all means, say he's a murderer. Fine. But they're calling for a boycott of Give, Send, Go for allowing it. That's hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Kyle Rittenhouse and his fundraiser was targeted repeatedly.
I think part of the reason why you're getting that is because the right feels like it's their opportunity to get back at the left in a similar way.
Yeah, I don't care for that. Kyle, the left...
True. Yep, I don't care for that either.
Because he was underage. And therefore, he had no legal right to self-defense because the gun was illegal. And that's why I'm like, get out, dude, I swear to God, people are arguing the school said weapons are banned, so that means he's a murderer. And I'm like, okay, no guns either. Come on, I'm not playing that game. Lock the kid up if he committed manslaughter, whatever you want to get him on. But don't come to me and tell me that when the state decides you can't keep and bear arms because they put up a sign, your Second Amendment rights are forfeit. Don't tell me that my rights are subject to your vote.
Yeah.
So, it's whatever, man. But can't say we didn't go for the most controversial one. All right, Shane H. Wilder says, luck of the Seamus is back. It's a great American-made Lucky Charm. Unfortunately, your spoons might go missing and get replaced with potatoes. Why would Seamus give you his potatoes?
Yeah, good luck in anything out of Seamus.
Do you guys remember when we said Seamus on the show, but it was just a potato on a stool?
Yes. How would you stir your coffee with a potato?
I mean, if you had a big bowl.
It'd have to be a big bowl, yeah.
Dip and roll.
All right.
Not practical.
Fook Derg.
They're definitely going to talk about the super chats are going to be crazy. Like, he's going to, as soon as he makes the analogy, I think that's when we're gonna like leave the video and move on to the Wick TV stuff that I said I was gonna do. But looking at the time, we probably might not get to that. But we'll see. We'll see.
I like that on purpose. This is my favorite. This is my first time watching IRL on a plane. Wow. Airplane mode be damned. Trump took the win. I hate how the left-wing personalities who are extremely wealthy are crying because they can't continue to support China's economy.
Oh yeah, the reason why there's an airplane mode thing, because like if everyone had their phones, cellular phones connected while they were on an airplane, it could like overload, like because like planes are going so fast that your phones will be jumping from tower to tower very quickly, and a bunch of them would be doing it, and I think there's like some sort of it'll overload like certain like things in the cell towers themselves, which will I don't think it will damage them, but it will cause like certain inconvenience. Like if like all the planes were doing that all the time and all the phones were jumping from tower to tower, I think it'll cause issues with them. I'm not sure if it'll damage them, like have a permanent damage type of thing, but it might. I think there's like an overloading issue where this cell tower just can't connect to all these phones all at once and keeps jumping back and forth. I don't know how that works, but yeah, that's why there's a whole airplane mode thing. Like it's for when there's a ton of people doing it, but if one person is doing it, it's not really gonna do anything.
I love what Trump is doing. This is great. Matt Seaman. Is that what it says? Matt Seaman. We'll say it like that way. I've been listening to you for the last few days about the market and economy. I'm almost 30, born in 95, and you're right. People my age don't care. We have no wealth to care. We need a chance to care. Indeed. Trump's doing all this stuff, and it's just like the boomers are freaking out.
Yes.
Gen X has only 20% of corporate equities, so they're going, oh, well, I lost some money. Millennials have no retirement. So like all of these liberals being like, oh, no, the market. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, I've noticed.
You guys don't have any wealth.
You mentioned it earlier, too. You just mentioned it again, that it's like the boomer generation with their retirement funds. They're out there protesting, but I don't think they know why. They're just protesting. Down with stop the thing that's happening. They don't understand why it's happening and seem to not understand or care that our economy has been inflated to beyond proportion, like $36 trillion in debt. That ain't sustainable, homies. I don't know who we are.
I do love how the official narrative now has become that the stock market has become a meme market.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the fact that Trump can just say things on Truth Social and trillions of dollars swing up and down, they're like, okay, the stock market may have meant something 50 years ago when you had to physically go there and say, I've got an order, and the guy's holding up the slip or whatever. But now that it's the internet and everything's in real time, it's all fake. It's all memes.
I mean, ever since, at the very least, since 2009 when they started quantitative easing, the value of all the stocks, or the vast majority of stocks, is not real anymore, because I've talked about this a couple times, but you've got people that have money that have been taking loans out at 0.1%, 1% interest or whatever, and taking that loan money, they refinance. Say you got a house that's like $10 million, right? And you paid half the mortgage, you got $5 million worth of equity. You can go and take a $5 million or say $3 million line of credit on your house, right? Take that cash, take $3 million, put it in the stock market, and you're going to get a better return. You're going to be able to pay your for most of the time when you refinance a house or take out a line of credit, there's 10 years where you didn't even have to pay for anything. You had 10 years before you have to pay it back. So you take it all out, put it in the stock market, just watch it grow. And that's what happened over and over and over and over and over multiple times. That's why stocks are trading at whatever, 26 times earnings.
Yeah.
The fact that there was such a drop in the stock market, you need more to actually get rid of the bubble that was created by the printing of money. And so, it actually still needs to drop more, because it's at 20. They're trading at like 26 times earning.
It makes no sense.
Normally it's 16 times earning.
The dividends are trash.
Yeah.
And, it was funny because I've got some stocks, and I'm just thinking to myself, I've got some that pay gangbusters. It's amazing. The dividends payouts are incredible. And there's some where it's like there's nothing, and I'm like, why would anyone buy this stock? It's super expensive, and you get nothing from it.
Mm-hmm.
You get a couple bucks.
You get dividends on profits?
It depends on what the structure of the company is, but typically. All right. L. Smith says, Chef Phil was driving home from getting some pizza on a country back road listening to Anti-Fragile when on my left a bald eagle appeared and took off and flew alongside me after its prey.
That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome.
What do we got here? Nuke Jukum says, Trump praising Governor Whitmer, saying she's doing an excellent job as a large L. Yeah, and she was at the Oval Office. You see that?
No.
Whitmer?
Yeah, Whitmer.
Really?
Yeah, everyone's freaking out, like, what's going on?
What does he want from her? Why is he glazing her?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's gonna,
because that's typical Trump behavior. If he wants something out of someone, then
maybe he gives her a administrative position, a position in the administration, and then Michigan has an opportunity to elect a new governor.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
What do we got here? Jago Sweet says, recently lost my father. Need help if anyone's willing. Thanks in advance. And he's got the link to Give, Send, Go, but I think you could try GFCGF. See if that works. I don't know, because I can't read the whole link. All right. Suspicious Scissor says, disagree. My friend is a pro Frisbee player. Almost no sponsors, small prizes, and manufacture was not exported to China. Yes, but I would argue that Frisbee has never been a major pastime, nor is an Olympic sport. Skateboarding had a bunch of millionaires and celebrities and superstars. Bam Margera became a celebrity, and he had multiple TV shows. Rob Dyrdek owns MTV today because all it is ridiculousness. And he had Fantasy Factory and Robin Big. Skateboarding was on top of everything, and then they started selling off the culture and the industry. And then it started to implode. 10 years ago, man, it was getting bad. But 15 years ago, skateboarders were all millionaires. Not all of them, but the top pros were all making hundreds of thousands of dollars. The top paid pro last year in skateboarding, I think, was like $400,000.
Wow.
And then the 10th highest paid pro was like $120K.
Skateboard's going to blow up once we go to Mars, dude, because gravity.
Sure.
You're going to be able to
But it's an
fly
Olympic
so
sport.
high.
It's an Olympic sport. And my point is this.
Yo, I love Ian. He's always says the most wild stuff. All right.
Something called Kaso.
Or random stuff. Random, not wild, but random.
Japan, I think. It's a Japanese reality show where skateboarders go through obstacle courses.
Awesome.
Americans are flying to Japan because the industry is in Asia now.
Wow.
Videos of skate parks in China are packed to the brim with kids running around. Not always skateboarding, but a lot of skateboarders. And parks here in the United States are done. I mean, it's woke. It's trash. The scum has risen to the top. American pros don't make a living anymore, and they've all quit. People are like, dude, there are pros that are famously working at like Home Depot and doing deliveries for Uber Eats. Not in China.
That's sad, man.
Not in China.
Yeah, I grew up skateboarding and looking up to a lot of the, pro skaters. I used to be in Orange County with my cousin. He actually got me into skateboarding because where I was, it wasn't really that big. But, I used to go to Orange County, and my cousin got me into skateboarding, and, it just became life, at that moment. I did it for the next, 12 years, 13 years, whatever it was. But, yeah, that's sad, man. That's so sad to hear.
Deep Inth says, if Carmelo pulled the knife and said, touch me and see what happens, it could be argued that it was premeditated. Indeed, it could. It could also be argued that he gave a warning before being attacked.
Yeah, I brought that up before.
Yes. Yep. There's two perspectives on that. It could be argued that he gave a warning and then they attacked and then he defended himself. But him using that as like a threat, you could argue that too. I think the latter part. I think the second. What did he say? Which one did I agree with?
Deep Inth says, If Carmelo pulled the knife and said, touch me and see what happens, it could be argued that it was premeditated. Indeed, it could. It could also be argued that he gave a warning before being attacked.
Yeah, I brought that.
Yeah, I like Tim's perspective. I sympathize more with Tim's perspective there. Yeah, true. I believe, like, you could make the argument, but I think it's true that he was giving a warning. I think he was giving a warning. He wasn't, like, initiating an attack or threatening. Like, I mean, you could argue a warning is a threat, but, like, I mean, I guess you gotta leave it to the court.
That up before the show. If someone says to you, touch me, something, are they giving you permission to touch them?
That's not.
I don't think so, because of his tone,
not.
and he said, touch me and see what happens.
Touch me and see what happens. He grabbed the knife and said, touch me and see what happens. The issue you have there is, you are correct. You could argue he pulled a knife and said he was intending to do something to this person, which indicates he had a state of mind. He was going to use lethal force on this person. However, considering he said, touch me and see what happens, to a jury, he's saying, don't attack me. And then the fact that the police officer claimed after Carmelo turned himself into police, Carmelo asked the...
Yeah. Literally, Carmelo literally turned himself into the police. He didn't just run away like how AJ, actual justice warrior, literally lied on that. That was BS. Or maybe AJ just didn't know that the police officer literally claimed this. Like, we have all the facts except for that one specifically. AJ, like, come on now. Like, I'm talking about actual justice warrior in which video was it? Was it this video? This guy. Like, he basically lied. Like, he basically lied. Let me find that. Yeah. Get the transcript. Like, he literally lied on this. Well, it was all the way towards the end.
He got aggressive. He provoked it. He pulled out a knife. He said, touch me and see what happens. Austin Metcalf ends up approaching him, and then he stabs him in the heart in response to a physical contact. In no way, shape, or form, in any state of the union, is that any kind of deadly force situation that you are allowed to defend yourself against with deadly force. Clear as day. Now, a lot of people are also pointing out and highlighting that the Anthony family has decided to either rent or look at buying a new property in order to avoid the scrutiny and the evil white racism that is supposedly surrounding their son and their family. Not happen. No witnesses back up the account of them smashing his phone and his bag and sucker punching him and all that nonsense, because guess what? That did not happen. What appears to happen is what every witness has.
Wait, I mean, he literally said run away, so.
And make a run for it. Again, these are obviously the
there we go.
Of a murderer, and then decided to throw the knife away and make a run for it.
All right.
Chased by somebody trying to get the gun, which graduates that to a deadly
All right, this is the part.
Your life. And he had the weapon concealed, so it was hidden. So Austin Metcalf didn't even have the opportunity to assess a potential deadly threat and decide whether or not he wanted to engage in that battle. Because again, unlike the Kyle Rittenhouse case where the guy's carrying the gun on him and then he's being chased by somebody trying to get the gun, which graduates that to a deadly force situation, this was not present here. Nobody saw the knife until Carmelo Anthony plunged it in the heart of Austin Metcalf, again, over a petty dispute, and then decided to throw the knife away and make a run for it. Again,
that's the lie. He threw away the knife. That is true. He threw away the knife, but he didn't make a run for it. He went to the cops. He turned himself in. Like, that's wild. He doesn't even like mention the fact that he turned him into the cops. Like, this is a lie. Like, this is outright a lie for this part. And it's sneaky how he just says all these things that are true, and then sneak in this little lie here to make it seem like it's much worse than it actually is. Like, no, come on now. Like, it's inconvenient for your claim that, oh, he's obviously a murderer, but, like, have all the facts. Like, you can't just say a bunch of stuff and then disclose things that may be inconvenient for your overall claim. Like, that's wild to me.
The officer, is he going to be all right? Now, maybe he was just smart. However, considering he said, touch me and see what happens, to a jury, he's saying, don't attack me. And then the fact that the police officer claimed after Carmelo turned himself into police, Carmelo asked the officer, is he going to be all right? Now, maybe he was just smart enough to ask that question because he knew it would create a scenario where the officer would testify. He assumed dude was alive.
Daniel Penny also had compassion for the guy.
Which means that Carmelo guy was stupid enough to go to a situation where he ended up, like, getting, like, into a bad altercation with someone, but also smart enough to realize, oh, I'm gonna have this like evil plan to like, oh, I'm gonna have some benefit of a doubt if I say this to the police officer. Like, bro, like, that okay, like that he can't be very dumb to put himself in that situation and then also be super smart afterwards by predicting the future. Like, that's stupid. That trying not to use the other word.
The guy who was choking.
Yeah, Penny afterwards when he went to the police, he said Penny didn't know the guy died. Jordan Neely. And he was telling the cops, he was like, look, man, I just didn't want him to hurt anybody. So I don't talk to cops.
He got off.
I doubt Carmelo Anthony had the state of mind to think to himself, uh-oh, they're going to get me on murder. I better act like I didn't intend to do it. I think he legit ran away and then asked the cop, is he going to be all right? Don't bring knives, I guess. I don't know. This story is crazy because it's remarkable to see people saying, if you go somewhere, like, everybody's just demanding they know what happened, right? Like, here we go. Proud Brown conservative says Timmy stabbed him in front of his twin brother at a track meet. Read the story, otherwise you're ignorant. By the way, congrats on being a pops. Now welcome to the club. I do appreciate that part. But the first part.
So what if his twin brother was there? That doesn't make it less self-defense. Oh, his twin brother was there. Therefore, he's obviously guilty because his twin brother was there. That's you know the word I was gonna say. That's so stupid.
You don't know what happened. Nobody does. I read multiple stories and the police statements on this. The story is, they went to their tents. Carmelo was there. They said, you're at the wrong tent. You can't be here. Words escalated to a verbal altercation. Carmelo pulled a knife out of his bag and said, touch me and see what happens. Some witnesses say Austin touched him. Some witnesses say he grabbed him. Carmelo then stabbed him in the chest one time with the knife before running away. He was apprehended / turned himself into police and said, he asked the officer, could this be considered self-defense? Was the question. And then he asked, is he going to be all right? That's the story. That's it. And I'm seeing conservatives be like, he intentionally went there, smuggled a knife in, and like, they didn't know each other. They didn't know who each other's were. The kids were from a different school. So look, whatever. Like, you're allowed to, you're entitled to your opinion, but it's crazy to me that the right is being like, the school banned weapons, therefore he's going to jail. It's like, okay.
That's the crux of this for me, because I feel like it's an example of future cases, potential cases that we may see on grounds like schools, and it's more of a self-defense argument or a Second Amendment argument in some instances.
How about we just teach our children to value others' children's lives? You know what I mean? That's what I try to do, you know, in my children's lives. That's what me and my wife try to do, is teach our kids to value life,
What's your main tactic to do that?
Well, for one, you know, we're Christians, and, you know, that's pretty much at the forefront, you know, and at the foundation is valuing life. So, you know, if you have to defend yourself, you know, I think you have to defend yourself. You're being put in no other position. Like, if somebody comes to my home, right, and they want to harm me or my children or my wife, I have to defend my home.
So here's one from Brandon G, and then we got time for one more. He says,
"Oh, I know what people are they're gonna disagree with him, saying like, oh, this wasn't a part where he was in his own home. He went to that location. Therefore, this isn't self-defense. This is completely different." I'm like, bro, this guy isn't making that argument to make it perfectly analogous with what happened on the ground. He's just saying that this is self-defense. Like, come on now, like self-defense should be like upheld. That's all he's pointing out here. But people who disagree with this is gonna hyper focus on the fact that, oh, he didn't make it perfectly analogous to the situation on the ground, therefore we should just like he's wrong. And I'm like, okay, wow, I don't care for those arguments, honestly.
What is it? Nothing matters but this. He was at a school event at the wrong team's tent with a knife. He clearly chose murder than to walk away, cut and dry here. Nope, wrong. Imagine you are invited to a party at someone else's house, and you are legally carrying a firearm, and then a fight breaks out, and or like an altercation breaks out between you and some guy, and you know there's drinking involved or whatever. I'm not trying to make a one-for-one scenario. I'm trying to create a potential scenario separate from this one with similarities. You go to a party. Let's say you go to a party, and some guy starts saying stuff like, "Yo, man, get out of here." And you're like, "I can do what I want. I was invited to the party." Verbal altercation escalates, and then the dude, you're standing there, and you pull your sweater back, and you've got a gun. You put your hand up and say, "Don't come close to me, bro. I'm warning you right now. Do not come close. Do not take another step." Then the guy grabs your arm and makes a move, so you draw your weapon and you use it. Okay, make the argument. You have no right to defend yourself when you're being attacked by a guy. Make the argument, by all means.
Exactly, yeah. Make the argument. Matt Walsh tried to do it, but like he failed miserably. But I still have respect for Matt, because at the end of it, he was like, no, people are allowed to have their different opinions. It's not the end of the world. Like, Matt did say that at the end, so like, did a pretty good job. In this video, no, in this, where is it? Oh, I think I deleted it. Oh yeah, I guess I did delete it.
In this video.
Yeah, yep. Well, yeah, but I mean, like, just take my word for it, or I'll just cut it in the video or whatever.
Go ahead and do so. I ain't going to do it. I don't know the circumstances. You can argue that you're in a place you're not supposed to be. You can argue it's that guy's house, and it doesn't matter. A guy can invite you into his... Your neighbor could be like, come on over, brother. And then if he gets physical with you, you can defend yourself. And then what? The police are going to be like, well, you were in his house. And it's like, yeah, he invited me in. It's like, the door was open, and they were having a party, and I walked inside, and he told me I wasn't allowed in his house. I apologized. Then he came at me and attacked me. It's going to be a difficult case. But yeah, you can't attack someone. It is complicated. Okay? So the circumstances can be wild and all over the place. But we're going to do this. We're going to go to the uncensored call-in show, so smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Subscribe to this channel. Join our Discord server at timcast.com to get into the chat if you want to talk to us, because we're going to take your calls in about 30 seconds over at the uncensored show on rumble.com/timcastirl for premium users. Follow me on X and Instagram at timcast. Corey, do you want to shout anything out?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So if you weren't here in the beginning, I shared how I have my album that just came out in December. It's called Let
All right, so we're basically done with this. Yeah. It's a bit late, and I do want to do a couple of things before before the end of the day, so I think we might just leave it off here, honestly. I think we might leave it off here, and I'm going to put off the Ukraine stuff, because this is a completely different topic with Timcast, and then with what's his name, Wick TV. I think he's a pretty cool guy, but he has I wanted to do some commentary on this, but we're too far, we're too deep into the whole criticism of Tim Pool to just jump automatically into this. So yeah, I think we're done. I think we're good. I think we're great. How do you like the new setup? I finally got this massive thing behind me, and I did some rearranging, so hopefully I can stream more. I got a new thing, what do you call it, stand, because my other one broke for like the 4th time. So yeah, hopefully this stays. New mic thing, new thing. Like I put so much work into all this. Hopefully I'll stream a little bit more, hopefully more often. Next time we'll do this. Won't be tomorrow. It won't be tomorrow. It won't be Friday either, or on the weekends. Very unlikely to be on the weekends, but during the probably next week, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, I'll be streaming. Hopefully I can do all 3 of those days. I want to stream more. So join me in my Discord thing and bother me whenever you see me online, and I'll force me to go live and talk about something. I actually will allow that to happen. So yeah. But yeah, thanks for watching, and do what's on screen, and yeah, I'll see you guys. Wait, what just? Oh, I mean, I know what happened. I know what happened. This is what happened. Just do what's on screen, and yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, I guess thanks for watching. This takes a second to like go to my end screen, so there we go.